What is up, everybody? Alright, back to Okeanos. Hopefully we can get this done today. Might not though, because, you know, I'm starting a little later than normal, but been a bit behind. Alright, let's see. So yeah, I guess the next few logins we don't get anything too crazy. The final day though, you get 50 SQ. That's kind of nice. I just wish we had gotten the updated version. They had like a limited time version of the Start Dash campaign, and you got a lot more apples. So I'm kind of sad that I'm missing out. But hey, free stuff is free. Still taking the balls for Qingong, which we don't actually have yet, but you know, let's see if we can fix that. Whoo, boy, that's tempting. So, you know, I don't want to get Merlin because he's like one of the few units I'm not going to use on this account, like, ever, but Siegfried would be nice. Siegfried would be really nice. I don't know, I might, I don't want the CEs at all. Like, rated up CEs are actually bad, because I'd be better off getting the generic CEs. You know, like the K-Nith CE, the K-Scope, Imaginary Element, that kind of stuff, but still, Siegfried would be nice. Yeah, I don't know, as we get SQ, we might start throwing him at Siegfried, because, I like the Dragon Killers. Alright, give me, let's see, we still need Mozart, somehow, and, yeah, Qingong. Oh man, there's the Sanson command code. That'll save us. That's what Sanson needed. Ugh. I don't understand how I have like every 1-star. Actually, I think I do have every 1-star except for Mozart, and like most of them are at pretty decent in P ranks. Going to want 2 Leonidases in the long run, so I might as well lock a second one. Well, that was unfortunate. This is pretty weird that we don't have Mozart. That's the event one. Okay. Okay, we're starting to get a little bit more team cost. That's good. So this is kind of random, but I was thinking about this last night. So, you know, FGO has a lot of different, like, reward systems and different things you need to grind and different resources. You know, you got mana prisms, QP, you know, embers, XP, all that stuff. And I think the one people complain about the most, that they see as like the most useless or the most arbitrary, is QP. But I actually think QP is good for the game, and it like, because, you know, as much as I don't generally get into the whole progression stuff, but, you know, it's still nice when you're like, oh, hey, you got a bunch of QP as a reward, right? Things like that. It's good to have, like, I feel like a lot of the rewards in this game don't actually feel good to get, right? Where with QP, yeah, it's kind of annoying, but it's not that annoying. And then when they do give out QP as a reward, it does actually feel rewarding, which is actually good for the game. That's what you want. I think where they could make it better is, yeah, one, the QP cap is messed up. You know, either QP costs need to be a bit lower or the QP cap needs to be higher. And then like the QP daily needs to be like 20 AP, not 40 AP. Although I feel like that's kind of a general thing that they fuck up on, is they just make everything 40 AP that's like supposed to be farmed, and it's just stupid and it's too much and it just makes it annoying, and you know, it's not good. But I think QP is actually really good for the game because it's like a You know, so you can't make every reward that you get for doing something, you can't make every reward like a command code or a welfare or something like that. You need multiple things. And I do think QP feels a good, you know, it's like, hey, it's something you need and you want, but it's not that big of a deal at the same time. So I actually think it works pretty well. I think mana prisms work really well. I think actually mana prisms are one of the best systems in this game. I just think they need to give you more things to buy with them. Like, you know, bronze mats, because that's what I'm getting to ultimately, is I think the system that's the most borked is bronze mats. Like the bronze mats ratio and like the amount that you need versus how much drops and how much you actually get from the event shop, especially the event shops. You generally get 30 bronze mats when you know, they're in the event shop. Oftentimes, you know, they're not. Like, hey, you know, this event, it's hero proofs, but then that means there's no void dust, there's no chains, etc., right? So I think bronze mats are trash and are like balanced really badly, and I think a good way to fix it would allow people to buy them with mana prisms, because then you care about mana prisms more, and then you can make mana prisms rewards for more things. And so what I'm getting at here is like, I want them to fix up some of this stuff and then add new game modes that are aimed at getting these things. Like imagine if you actually had a fun, like, you know, challenge tower or boss rush mode or something where the reward was mostly like QP and mana prisms. You know, maybe every once in a while you get something a little bit extra, but that's the main reward. But then there's way more to do with mana prisms. But it's not like there's like one set thing to do with mana prisms. There's many things to do. So it's like, okay, you know, I need a lot of bronze mats, but I don't really want to farm, you know, I don't want to deal with like, you know, farming just the chains and then farming just the hero proofs. So I'll just farm, you know, mana prisms in general, and then, you know, later on I'll just buy what I need, right? I think that would be a lot funner, and also it means mana prisms, you know, have a lot more uses, and then if there are an event reward, it's more meaningful. And it gives them a way to add more game modes, which I think FGO needs very badly. Cease your fun? Yeah, I know, right? Couldn't have that in a video game. Yeah, I mean, you can farm mana prisms, but see, that's so boring. Like, no one wants to farm embers to farm mana prisms, and then the ratio is still really bad. Like, that's kind of what I'm talking about. The game needs something way more fun than that. And then, you know, the ratio is trash. No one's, and besides, even if the ratio was better and everything, right now there's not there's not anything to really do with mana prisms. You can't buy bronze mats with mana prisms. And also, what they need to do, this doesn't affect NA as much because y'all don't have command codes yet, but you will. You know, as the game goes on, and you know, we've had command codes on JP for quite some time, and you know, there's a lot of standard ones that are like really important, but maybe you missed them. And they've put some command codes in the Mana Prism shop and the Rare Prism shop, but they need to put more, right? Especially once they're like, okay, we're probably not going to bring this command code back. You know, we're not going to rerun the event again. Then you should put it in the Mana Prism shop or the Rare Prism shop, you know? And then like, if you wanted, like, just basically the game needs to work on this reward structure, right? It's like, right now they give out Rare Prisms every once in a while during events, you know, pretty rarely. The only time you get them in like a large chunk is when they give out a welfare that you already have. But outside of that, they do give out Rare Prisms every once in a while, and I don't think Rare Prisms need to be common at all. They need to be rare, and then it's also like a way to feel better about like, oh hey, I got a gold unit that I don't like. Well, at least I can turn them into Rare Prisms and you know, get, you know, Anniversary Blonde or get Melty Sweetheart or whatever, right? But it's like, that's another thing you could do is if you want to do like a challenge tower that changes every month or something, and you could make it, if you clear the whole thing, you get a Rare Prism, right? So you clear, you know, a few of them, and then you can actually, you know, get somewhere with that. You know, stuff like that would be really nice. You know, it gives, you know, it makes things like more new player friendly. It makes things, I think, funner, and then also lets people to catch up better, you know, that kind of thing. And it just makes, you know, like kind of gives them an option to make more game modes with more reasons to do them. Yeah, they definitely need Rider Kentucky in the Rare Prism shop. And see, also, the good, I think it's, for example, let's say you made like a challenge tower where like you change it up every month or so. If you didn't want to do it, like you didn't like it or whatever, I don't think you'd really feel that pressure to do it if like the only rewards was like mana prisms and QP, and if you clear the whole thing, you get a rare prism, right? And maybe you get some drops along the way, like maybe this different floors or whatever, you know, drop, you know, random mats here and there. But I don't think people would be caring too much if they're like, oh, I don't really feel like doing this, or I don't like doing this, or it's too hard, or whatever. It's like, oh wow, I missed a rare prism, you know. And if I ever, you know, need some, I can always do it next month, right? Or even, you know, it's not like you have a break between them. You just, you know, reset every month. So I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing, and Drake's about to die. I definitely put way first rare for the stuff. I might need to actually bring George here in match. I kind of brought a whatever team. I didn't realize we were fighting a boss. I like how you're supposed to be fighting both of them, but we're really only fighting the one. I mean, it was in the shop, it is in the shop. You can get those command codes whenever you want. And the 3 command codes that they put in the shop are all good, right? Oh, the heal one's a bit man, but like they're all decent, and they're, you know, they're kind of nice for, you know, new players. But they need more. Like, they definitely need to add more. I think we're gonna lose because our team is really not optimized for this. I mean, JP already has the engine update. NA is probably going to get it for the anniversary, I think. I'm saving Fuma because he'll get his NP easier than Kojiro will get another one. Hey, Jin. Hell, if NA gets the engine update sooner than that, I mean, I'm down for that. So I don't really play NA that much, but, you know, game running smoother is a good thing. I like how, you know, I evaded him just in case, but, that was really unmeta of them to attack Fuma. Wow, okay. Normally the AI, you know, for this playthrough, we've had a lot of AI trolling. That was like the dumbest I've like ever seen the AI here. Like they all NP'd Fuma and then double attacked Fuma. It's like, good job, champ. Okay, we're gonna win, I think, then. Yeah, it's a really old NP animation. They really don't like Fuma, and they're paying for it pretty dearly. Pretty sure we would have won anyway, but still, that was very unmeta. You know what's gonna be sad is if they get an animation update and they don't put both of their battle sprites in at the same time, like with the twins. And they seriously might. They seriously might not update them properly because they're like, oh, we can't monetize these really, and so it's not worth all that effort. Or it'll just be so phoned in, right? And they'll like barely do anything. Ship on a ship. Like, the only times they really go above and beyond with animations is when it's a 5-star. And it's not like an old 5-star, it's like a new one that they just, you know, added and everyone wants to roll on, right? Because even like Mordred, who's decently popular, you know, her animation update was still pretty phoned in, right? Like, they're really not going above and beyond with those animations. That would have been a good time for Art of Death if I had known we were fighting a boss. I mean, I like Mordred's update and all, but it's like, look at her initial Buster attack, right? Which is the one you're going to see the most. It's pretty damn lazy. You know, compared to, you know, a lot of the more... compared to a 5-star that they add brand new, right? She's definitely not on par with that. Like, not at all. And Drake ain't doing us much good right now. Now, see, this is a turn where I should not have done protection from arrows. These guys don't do enough damage. Like, them attacking my health bar is meaningless, right? I'd rather them hit my health bar on Q than take off a ping of protection from arrows. Also, I can kill a lot of them quickly, so I should have like tried to kill 2 of them this turn and then let them attack, and then on the last turn before I kill the 3rd one, then do protection from arrows. Now, I might get lucky and they might not hit them. And also, this stage probably isn't hard enough for this to matter. But there are definitely times where it makes sense to wait a second to do protection from arrows. Now, if I could kill all 3 reliably, then of course you should, you know, do it. Man, I paid for my. They're just helping me demonstrate. See, the mob is just trying to, like, you know, teach the class, right? It's this is a demo, right? So it's all good. Yeah, I know. Protection from arrows with the maximum cooldown is not ideal. That's gonna be my first Lancer skill that like gets Lancer gems. I mean, see, I would have been better off face tanking that hit, and then on that turn right there, I should have cast protection from arrows. But again, this stage I don't think is going to be hard enough for it to actually matter. Someone would have liked to have crit during all that. That would have been nice. So I could obviously kill them both, but I'm gonna grab the NP. Although I think the enemies at the end is gonna be a rider, so really getting Q and P gain is not that important. What can I say? I'm biased. I missed both Rider Kentucky and the Welfare Rider that's going on now. Is Rider Ishtar good? Because she's the only one I got. Only one I can get. Are you on JP or are you on NA? Because if you're on NA, then a lot of that, you know, some of that stuff's coming back. But she's okay. She's good for. You're on NA. Well, on NA, it's not too big of a deal because one, you could get the rider that's going on. You can still get them right now if you busted your ass. And they're coming back. They're getting reran later. Anyway, in terms of Ishtar rider, excuse me. She's good for farming and she's okay for challenge quests. She's kind of like just an AoE rider that also gives the team some pretty solid support. And then she's kind of got wonky survivability, but it's a decent amount of survivability. But you're still going to want a single target rider. But you can always use Ushi, right? Everybody gets Ushi, and Ushi is an extremely good single target rider. So yeah, if you wanted to use Ishtar as like your AoE rider with some, you know, support stuff, and then use like Ushi or something like that for your single target rider, you'll be fine. Not a big deal. I will say though, overall, Kentucky is definitely better. They're kind of apples and oranges because Kentucky is, you know, pure single target nonsense, but he's so good that I definitely say he's the best of the lot of the welfare riders. But yeah, she's good. I think some people kind of forget that her support's pretty decent, right? She gives the team a pretty nice, like she's actually really good with Kentucky. But yeah, she's totally fine. But you know, she's not going to carry you in a lot of boss fights and stuff, but she'll make farming a lot easier, and she can certainly help out in some boss fights. Oh, hi, Blackbeard. It's funny, this is technically harder than the boss fight we just did. He's got more health, right? He's got an AoE NP, which is more threatening on an enemy. But this fight, I would say, is easier because you have such like trash to fight at the start that it's really easy to build up your NPs and kind of get a leg up. But his stats are definitely higher and all that. Although I guess I'll have to see, maybe his attack stat is so much higher that this will actually be a problem. He's just like shredding people, but I doubt that's the case. Hector is definitely the hardest boss aside from the Demon Pillar, especially if you don't have a Saber or you haven't leveled one yet. I remember my very first account, just like now, I made sure to not overlevel things and not summon supports that could carry me too much and stuff. It's just how I always play games. And I remember I had not really gotten any sabers yet, and I think I might have had Caesar, but actually I don't think I did. I think I just had not gotten any sabers yet. Oh, I think I'd gotten Saber Gilius, and I didn't really like him. So I had not leveled any sabers, and I remember Hector was really tough. I remember using Proto Coup and Coup, and just for the survivability, and also I liked Coup a lot. And I barely, I think I actually lost. I think that was the first boss I lost to, but then I beat it on the second try, if I remember correctly. Really wish Kojiro got his NP here, because I don't want to. I want to wait to use Drake's first skill until Kojiro's got his. I didn't have Fergus, I remember. Like I said, I mean, I'm pretty sure I got the Okeanos on my first day or maybe second day of playing. Because I just kind of just did the story, right? Like I wasn't, bothering with doing side stuff. Alright, well we got some damage. We'll do Ku's NP first for the defense down. Fergus was not day one, but when I started playing JP, he was already out. Now obviously when I started playing NA, he wasn't, but I started playing NA pretty far in because it didn't exist back when I started. Yeah, Camelot had like just came out when I started JP. Yeah, I've been doing summer. I've done some of it on stream, but I've been doing the boring ass farming stuff off stream, just because who cares? But I'm fairly caught up on it. Like I haven't, I'm not as far in as I could be, but it's like I'm on par. I'm totally fine. Won't be an issue. So this is kind of a waste of his evade when the NP's coming up, but I want that crit buff. Even though, now that I think about it, that crit buff is at rank 1, which, not the best. I like how we get 2 Brave Chains for Kojiro in a row. Shame our second skill's not leveled more. We could get more crits if it was. Wow, nothing crit. That sucks. Well, Blackbeard's taking out Drake. It's dramatic. He's a big boy. I actually really look forward to if Blackbeard gets an animation update. I really want to see his NP because it's kind of just your classical cannon barrage, right? It's not like magical cannon barrage, and I like that. It's just, good old-fashioned cannon fire. So I'm kind of looking forward to how that looks if he gets an update. They'll probably phone it in, but as they do. Yeah, George has got this. Man, I never knew Blackbeard was a swallow. I wanted serious Blackbeard, man. I wish they'd at least made one of his 3 stages like way more serious and have different voice lines, right? Like make this like 3rd stage serious and have more serious voice lines and stuff. That would have been really nice. I mean, his design's okay. It could definitely be better, and they didn't really, you know, they didn't base it off of a lot of like the actual stuff like that he's famous for. So I think it could be a lot better. I mean, it's not terrible, but like his third stage should definitely have the flaming beard, like the fuses in his beard and all that. Is this Hector? I don't know. I know it's he backstabs Blackbeard and everything. So this might be Hector. I didn't remember there being Saber Trash mobs, but guess we'll see here. You know what? I don't know if this is really worth it, but we're doing it anyway. I mean, it's Okeanos, man. Like, we kind of gotta. $25. Hopefully that's good enough. Alright. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to level Jason and Fergus when they're both AoE. Like, especially this early in the game, you should kind of just pick one, but it's thematic, and I like Jason, so. I guess MASH, yeah. Yeah, I've kind of always liked Jason, but the mainstream certainly didn't, but now they definitely do. Yeah, they really turned that ship around. But I pretty much knew they were going to do that as soon as he was in Solomon, right? Like, so it's kind of obvious to me. I don't think I should have taunted there. Man, even at this level, with rank 1 of his first skill, he's still decently tanky. Watch the NP gain, boys. Jason. No Herc allowed. Cheating, boys. Alright, there he is. I think we fight him again later. Ooh, okay, okay. Berg is starting big. That worked out well. Thanks, George. Ow. Glad that didn't land. Dude, I remember the first time I did this, it landed so much and he was just spamming it. It was so dumb. Authentic experience. Oh, you know what? We need to get some music in here. That's better. I don't know how the ship survived that, by the way. It didn't clearly we moved to another ship. Yeah, we're all Ushi. Just leaping from boat to boat. Yeah, not much friendship going on right now. Man, I really do want to grail Jason. I'm thinking about it. Hey, Fury. That's amazing. Poor Hector, man. His NP's about to fail pretty hard. Ow. I think we win here. Not quite. Feels good, man. That was totally worth leveling Jason for. Yeah, he did. It just didn't land. He got RNG'd. That's actually not Hector. That's Hans. That's in disguise. We fight him more though. There's another fight with him later. I think his stats are higher than 2. That'll be the real test. Yeah, I don't have Mozart, Hans, or Qinggong. I think those are the only 3 bronze I'm missing. And those are very fundamental ones, so it's kind of unfortunate. I was kind of rooting for Hector too. If you're gonna lose to a boss, it might as well be Hector. I would love a New Game Plus version of Hector and really make, like, if I was gonna do a New Game Plus mode for this, the game in general, you'd want a few, good boss fights before that, but I'd want Hector to be like your, because, Gwen is like the kind of known gatekeeper, right? Gwen kind of marks a shift in difficulty from that point on, right? I think Hector should kind of be that for a New Game Plus, right? Keep the Berserker alive, see if it can take out George.
Yes.
I mean, we don't really know what's going on with Demon Souls because we haven't seen any gameplay. We've seen pictures of like the in-game engine and stuff, but like we haven't actually seen any gameplay. So they may be taking the code and just putting it over in a new engine and that kind of thing. I suspect though it's going to be pretty different, which in some ways is good. I think from a gameplay perspective, I want them to remake it because Demon Souls is rather, excuse me, that's my old phone. Demon Souls is kind of old and it's got pretty floaty physics and the weapon movesets are very, very, very simplistic and very similar to each other and stuff. So there's plenty that can be improved. Okay, phone, will you shut the fuck up? I literally just set my phone there and it's just like, I'm gonna give you like 80 notifications now. I'm talking here. I'm gonna put you over here in the fucking pillow. Anyway, the main thing is I just don't like the art style. And I've been seeing a lot of like straw men arguments about this, where the people are like, oh, you all are just judging it off the cinematic, the original Demon Souls, the Dragon God in gameplay looks nothing like Dragon God in the cinematic, but that's really not what people are talking about. It's like the screenshots they show of like Vanguard and the environments and stuff, and like Tower Knight, it's not about the cinematic, it's about, the art style literally is not the same and is very different, right? Like if you look at Tower Knight, his little intro, the original versus the new one, it's like the whole atmosphere is different, right? The original, it's like very gray and washed out and everything feels very like foggy because that's the whole thing. The demon fog isn't developed the kingdom, right? And the game has a very like oppressive atmosphere, very almost claustrophobic, right? Where the new one just doesn't have that atmosphere at all. Like not even a little bit. There's nothing really wrong with the new art style. It's just I don't think it's true to the spirit of the original at all. Like I'm all for them changing the gameplay and like rebalancing it and stuff like that. That's fine. But in terms of the art style, I think they should try to be more like the original. That's the point. That's the point of you don't make a Demon Souls remaster and you want to make a game that's something like Demon Souls, right? It doesn't make any sense. But we'll see, for all we know, they're going to change it up some. Maybe there's a lot of, like, extra effects and lighting and stuff that they haven't done yet. And, maybe they'll hear complaints about the art style and they'll actually try to change it some. So we'll just have to see. I'm not going to judge it until it's actually out, so. I mean, that's true, Fury, but I doubt it, right? That's a real, leap, right? Like there's no evidence to even point in that direction because the original game didn't really use the world tendency that way, but it could happen, and that'd be kind of cool. Like if you're pure white, the fog is like a lot less around, it's more brighter and kind of more fantasy looking, right? And then you're in dark, then it's like way more fucked up. That'd be kind of cool. That wouldn't bother me, but if they actually do that, I'll address it then. But right now I have no reason to think that they're gonna do that.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, we don't have that much information about it yet, so we'll just see. Just for now, my initial reaction is, the art style is very different from the original. And I don't mean graphic fidelity-wise, it's obviously better, but that's not that important to me. What's most important to me though is the gameplay, like very much so, you know. Even if like let's say the aesthetic is what it is, they don't change it, and maybe it's even worse than what we see, and it's like really, you know, not fitting for Demon Souls and all that. But if they make the gameplay fucking amazing, I'm gonna like it anyway, right? Gameplay is what matters to me the most. That being said, I'd like the atmosphere to be good too. Oh yeah, I've said that about Demon Souls a lot. It's like, you know, it set the foundation for what Souls is, and at the time it was such a risky game to make because games didn't get made like that, you know, in that era. And you know, it's a very important game for the series, but you know, it's the most basic, right? It has the most basic, you know, boss mechanics, and the physics are, you know, a bit sloppy. The movesets on the weapons are the most basic and that kind of stuff. But I still like the game because it's like, you know, it's still fun, and the game design's really good. The story's cool. The music's, you know, great. The atmosphere's great. And even though the mechanics are a lot more bare bones in Demon Souls compared to like the later games, they're still good. You know, the foundation is still good, so it's still enjoyable. But I would like to see them, you know, spruce it up. However, I'm also worried if you try to spruce it up because it's not. The thing is, it's not being made by FromSoft, right? If FromSoft was making it, and FromSoft was like, yeah, we're gonna remake it, and we're gonna really, you know, update the combat system, and you know, make the weapons, you know, a bit better, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm totally on board. But because FromSoft's not making it, I kind of feel damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? It's where like, I want them to update it because I think the game needs to be updated, and you know, I'd like to see the weapons be better and the physics be better and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I don't really trust this developer to do a good job, right? They're not necessarily gonna, you know, have the same design philosophy and have the same idea of what's fair and how to make a fair moveset and how to make a fair boss moveset and all that stuff. So it might, you know, it might suck. I'd rather them take the risk. I'd rather risk it being shit, because if it's shit, I can just play the original, right? But like if it's literally just Demon Souls with the new coat of paint, I don't even care about it. I literally don't even care about it. And it's not about me not liking the coat of paint. It's just I don't care about remasters that are just a graphics update. I cannot be bothered. I don't care enough about graphic fidelity for that. That's not a selling point to me. Like the only time that's a selling point is if like the original game just has like, you know, PS1 graphics or something like that. The graphic updates just don't care to me. I actually did not. I know they did the Shadow of Colossus remaster, and I actually don't like that remaster at all because it was just a coat of paint. And I think Shadow of Colossus holds up so poorly to modern standards, right? That game is so style over substance, and like the boss fights are really contrived and like silly, and I just don't think that, you know, that game looks good, right? And the music's good, and the atmosphere's good, and at the time, again, it was, you know, pretty crazy to have that big open world with these monsters roaming around that you could find and stuff. But like, the boss fights are pretty trash to me in today's standards, and that game literally didn't make them any better. They just made everything look prettier, which again just doesn't matter to me. Like that's never gonna make me want to play a game. Like not once in my life have I ever been like, oh wow, that game looks really like pretty, so I want to play it. It's like gameplay, man. That's the stuff I care about. Well, finally time to bust out the book. We haven't had need of her in quite a while. Let's level her a little bit because she's kind of behind. Let's not make this though Demon Souls the stream. I'll stream more Souls games in the future, so we can talk more about it then. Maybe one more. Nice, 25 feels good, I guess. I actually have done, I've beaten Dark Souls 3 at level 1. I did that long before I was a streamer though. I actually did it at like, I think it was like level 4 or something. I was like the default level of one of the classes, and then I didn't go past like +2 weapon upgrade because I was doing it for like, you know, PvP trolling nonsense. I think Dark Souls 3 is a lot of fun at lower soul levels, and like when you hold your weapon upgrade back. A lot of the boss movesets are really good, but they're easy to trivialize, and so if you kind of hold yourself back, a lot of them are really fun. Where that can be true for all of those games, but some of the other ones, it's like the bosses can be like really gimmicky in a way, where like like 4 kings. You can technically beat 4 kings without ever getting hit, but generally if you try to do him at a low soul level, you have to do 4 kings with like red tear stone ring and just kill him so fast that he's never even able to do some of his attacks that are like super fucking annoying to deal with when you get one shot, which isn't really great boss design. Like it's not really fun to me when it's like, oh hey look, I'm handicapping myself, but I'm just doing it in a way where I'm not really handicapping myself because I can kill the boss in like 20 seconds, right? That's not really the same thing as, oh hey, I had to live for a really long time against this boss and deal with all of his attacks multiple times and truly have to understand it, right? The problem is there's just a lot of bosses like in Dark Souls 1 where if you're one-shottable, you know, and you're not using like, you know, OP stuff to kill it really fast, some of their moves are just kind of broken. Like there's certain attack combinations in Ornstein and Smo where it's like, you're probably going to get hit if they happen to do that certain attack combination. Where Dark Souls 3 has a lot less of that. Weather got kind of bad here. I don't really care about the not getting hit playthroughs because you normally have to just cheese the shit out of them, and I don't really find that fun to watch. It's still hard to do because it's like an endurance test and stuff, but man, that chip in the background's having a bad time. Hey, that's what it looked like outside yesterday. Feels bad. We've had some bad weather where I live, too. Dude, I haven't actually played a Souls game in a crazy long time. I used to play them all the time. I haven't played them in ages. But it's kind of nice, because that way when Elden Ring comes out or whatever, I'll be really rusty. Those games are way more fun when you're not really, you know... Like, I have the most fun, like, playing Dark Souls when I haven't played it in ages, right? Because you have to kind of, you know, get readjusted to it again and all that. That's more fun than when you can just do everything autopilot. Yeah, that ship's normally in the background. Like, almost all the ship stages have a ship there. The thing is, when you're fighting, let's say you're fighting Ornstein and Smo on New Game Plus 7, and you're not cheesing it, so right, you have a very minimalist weapon, you don't have Red Tear Stone, so you have to really respect the boss for a long time. It takes so long to kill them like that, that you're not going to be able to prevent, you know, you're not going to always be able to manipulate where Ornstein is relative to Smo and stuff, and you're going to have to deal with some bullshit attack combinations that are basically unfair, and no matter what you do, you're going to get hit by them. Like, that's universally true with that kind of thing. That's why anytime someone does do a playthrough, like a no-hit run or whatever, they're not doing it with those other kind of restrictions, so they don't have to deal with the boss for a really long time. Like, Ornstein and Smo and 4 Kings, when you get really minimalist about it, are pretty broken. And, like, they're still beatable, but there's a huge amount of RNG in it. Now, the thing is, a natural playthrough of Dark Souls, you don't need to be able to, you know, it's okay if you get hit every once in a while, right? That's just kind of a player thing where you want to try to never get hit any. Now, I will say, though, it's a good game design if at least it's theoretically possible to never get hit. You know, there's a lot of games, like action games and stuff, like Ninja Gaiden 3, where there's really no way to not take damage, right? The way you play and the skillful things you do can just mitigate the amount of damage you take, and maybe greatly so, but like there's just so much like bullshit and like broken hitboxes and spammy attacks everywhere. You're going to get tagged by something, right? I don't generally like that kind of game design. I like more focused, you know, clean game design where it's more like, okay, they're doing this, so I need to do that, you know, that kind of stuff. The more like spazzy action games I generally don't like as much, just because, like, you know, again, being skillful, you can mitigate damage, but, you know, there's so much, you know, like I said, spam that, you know, something's going to get you, you know, do damage to you at some point. Like, there's a real difference between, like, Ninja Gaiden Black, you know, Ninja Gaiden 1, versus Ninja Gaiden 3, where, like, in Ninja Gaiden Black, you can absolutely and completely within reason do every single fight and never take damage, and it's not even, like, some... You know, it's like you just have to understand the fight and react properly. There's no, like, RNG, there's no... You know, it's actually very reasonable to do that, right? Where in, like, Ninja Gaiden 3, it's not reasonable to do that at all, right? And it's not a skill thing, it's just a game design thing. Ninja Gaiden 3 is a mess, by the way. That is a mess of a game. Guru 3 is so much grindier than I remember. I mean, I guess it's because when I originally played it, it was on my main, and so I played my main a lot anyway, so I just got done with it over, you know, whatever amount of time, and that was that. But on NA, where I don't play NA much at all, and I have to force myself to play NA, I'm like, this is so fucking grindy. The good thing about Ninja Gaiden 3, and especially Razor's Edge, like, I don't think anyone even wants to talk about regular Ninja Gaiden 3. That game is just trash. But they made Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, which was like an upgrade to it, which was much better, but still, you know. But you know, the character movesets were good, right? They had very fleshed out movesets that were almost like a fighting game, and that was really cool. It's just, it was mainly the way the enemies designed, lack of enemy variety, you know, the level design wasn't good at all. You know, there's a lot of problems. And I basically killed the series. Like, they really haven't made a serious Ninja Gaiden game since then. Which kind of sucks. I don't know if man, hey D-Fang, what's up, dude? Thank you for the 14-month resub. But yeah, Summer 3, I don't know if I'm going to play that on NA or not. It's funny, there's so many events where I'm like, oh, that's an easy pass. Because, you know, like I said, I don't care too much about NA. But the command codes in Summer 3 are really important. Right, those are really good fundamental command codes that I really want. So I'm like, I kind of have to do this. I'll probably just stream it so it's easier. Grindy events I can get through so much easier if I just play it on stream. Because I can talk to chat while I get the shit over with. So, at least if I do it, I can skip the rerun. I'm just hoping to give NA the rerun version, like they did with Go West. The original Go West was actually the rerun version of Go West. And I'm really hoping they do that again for Summer 3. They should, because that, my god, that event is such a grind fest. And the end of it's good. I will say I like the end of it. The raids and all that are fun. The challenge quest's fun. I definitely think Go West, I don't know, Go West and Summer 3 are both bad. Summer 3 is probably more grindy though, to be honest. It's just, there's less like switching up what you need to do, which for some people is, you know, better. Oh, is it Deep-Fang's birthday? How old are you now? I'm not singing happy birthday because I wouldn't do that anyway, and also I'd get copyright struck anyway, so you know. 25? That's a good age. I need a cake emote. Yeah, that's the best I got. Man, it's funny, I played this account, you know, and my coup is just level 30, right? He's just level 30, and he doesn't even have foe items yet, right? And then I play my main account, and he's, you know, 100, 10, 10, 10, 2k foed, got the bonus attack, you know, from the command card system, and command, it's like, the difference is so big, like, it's fucking massive. Hoping with a double defense down and a buster chain, we'll do 5k here. Yep. Almost at 8k. Yeah, and yeah, it's golden sumo. Probably should have used golden rule there, but see, what I do, D-Fang, is I just don't tell anyone what my birthday is. Because I'm one of those people that doesn't really like all the birthday attention, and I just don't tell anybody. The shitty part is, though, there are certain people that know that tell people, right? And that I can't do anything about. Those fucking family members, man, that you just happen to be born with. It's like, you can't stop them. Well, that made the original Buster card kind of pointless. The thing is, it's pretty hard to sing with text. Oh, bond 5, that's good. Get our Mystic Code up. I'm really surprised though at how much we've been using Fergus. It's been working out though. I'll be really glad when I limit break the event CE, just because, you know, 50% starting MP is a big deal. Oh fuck, is this Hector again? Shit, I'm not ready at all. This was like a trash fighting team. I had no idea it was so soon. Crap. It's a 2-wave one, so it probably is. Oh no. I need Jason! It's actually good. I'm glad that didn't kill. I guess this is better. $173. Ugh. I think we're gonna lose. Actually, I think we would win because of Hercules in the back, but obviously we don't want to rely on that, so. You know it's bad when you're using Spartacus's art card to give the first card art bonus to somebody else. That is not a good sign. Well, there goes the NP for George, but we didn't really need that. I want to use this card though. The other team was so much more optimized. I'm in panic mode now. Fucking 97%. There we go. Thanks, Pirates. George, Robin? Yeah, that'll save us. Look out, guys. We got the poison. It's fine. Oh, I wish that was like MASH instead. At least we got a Fergus special. More drill time. And we don't have Caesar yet. Please be MASH. What did you MASH would be so good right now. I could give Spartacus his fucking NP. This is not good. Don't do it. I like how he double casted on Spartacus. Get him! Rip Spartacus. Okay, we have to win without him like contributing at all. Come on, everybody crit. No. Come on. There we go. Okay, I think we win regardless of Hercules. He face tanked 2 hits there, but whatever was left would have done 6k, so it didn't matter. Is that a challenge? That was tough. Hurt cares again. Like, he face tanked the 2 hits, but if those 2 hits had gone into one of the other 2, the other one could have still finished up. So we would have won no matter what. There was no way he could have killed both of them, so I feel fine about this. Also, if I had known that was the Hector fight, I wouldn't have brought Robin and that kind of thing, you know? Okay. This must be a filler stage. What chapter are we on? 10, and this 14 is the Demon Pillar, so... Urk always carrying. Who do I need bond with? I mean, a lot of things. I mean, if he has Fionn, yeah, definitely gonna need a lot of bond with. I think he has to be like bond 4 or whatever for one of his interludes. I'm not adding anybody until I get to The only people I add are literally randoms. Like, I don't want to rely on my stream clout, if you will. I want to be able to, like, you know, add people that, at the same rate that a normal person would. But once we get to Epic of Remnant and Lost Belt, then I'll add people from chat. Yeah, you still have the best Rice Man, I'm pretty sure. Rice Man really is. I actually do think Rice Man's the best AoE 3-star archer. Well, obviously that depends because of Arash, right? Because who's a 1-star, but like for the 1 to 3-star archers in AoE, like I think he's the best one. It kind of depends though with Arash, just because that's kind of side grady, and you know Arash is kind of OP, but that's a completely different matter. But like he's definitely better than Kid Gil. Not to hate on Kid Gil, and Kid Gil's fine too. They both do a good job, but Rice Man is just a nice. Like, okay, Kid Gil's fine, but like he has no survivability at all, and he doesn't have enough damage to warrant that, right? There are some units that have no survivability, but they do so much damage, like, oh yeah, this really works. Kid Gil's not quite at that point, right? Kid Gil's fine, you know, he does do a nice job, and he gives, you know, really nice charisma to the team. But Rice Man just, you know, he hits, you know, really hard as well, but then he has a lot of survivability, like a lot of survivability, and overall that's just more useful. Not this second Arjuna, but definitely at some point. Probably, I'm sure we'll do that for something when we get later in the game, just to do it. Like we'll find a boss to terrorize. I'm sure chat will call me a cheater on that one, but that's probably deserved. Rice Man's animations, thankfully, are like decent, and like his character proportions are fine. You know, he doesn't look like a monstrosity. But yeah, it would be nice if they could update him. Actually, I don't think Arjuna Alter is that absurd when he's not working with really strong supports. He's very good. Like, you know, if you're a total free-to-play person, you know, and you summon your friend's God Juna, he's very helpful, but he can't carry like a lot of other units can. He really can't. You know, he's not all of a sudden making your team super safe. He's still completely susceptible to, you know, NP spam from the enemy and stuff like that. Still great fucking Berserker, absolutely, but I don't think he's even remotely broken, really. Now, if you use him with Merlin and stuff like that, then yeah, he's really fucking broken. There's no way they'd remove him throwing the rice. There's no way they would do that. People would be so pissed. I think everybody would be pissed about that. Couldn't decide if I wanted to do damage or give Robin NP. I'm going with giving Robin NP. Oh yeah, God Juna can definitely carry for 1.0, but I mean a lot of things can carry 1.0. I would say Rice Man's animations are like solid, right? They're definitely way ahead of like, you know, Mozart, Hans, Shakespeare, Sanson. You know, it's way ahead of that stuff. But it'd still be cool if someday we got an update. I actually like his NP a lot. It's like simplistic, but I really like Rice Man's NP. Man, look at this boss. Look danger. It says danger up here. Oh man. Chad, I don't know if we got enough firepower to deal with this. He's got a gun! See, we didn't actually defeat him. He's just like going into the shadows, you know. He'll be back. I'm sure Ushi's going to get an animation update. I'm so positive of that. I actually think we might have seen it by now if it wasn't for the virus, but I guess we'll see. You never know. They might be like, oh, hey, we'll just wait. Like, maybe they're like, oh, we already know we're going to use her in Lost Belt 7, so we'll just wait to give her the update until Lost Belt 7. And if that's the case, you're going to have to wait a fucking while. And it could be like, you know, they have some event plan. You know, they plan events well in advance, right? And they may have already decided when it's going to be, and so you're just not going to see it until that event happens. But hopefully that's not the case, and we'll see it sooner. They really do need to get rid of all the day one animations, though. It's bad for the game, and it's ridiculous. Let's go MASH, actually. I'll be glad when MASH has her taunt. And, you know, her upgraded first skill and, you know, etc, but that'll be a minute. Yeah, Jolter's always confused me that she hasn't been updated. There's no real news on JP. There probably won't be until this event's about over. They don't generally... Occasionally they do, especially if there's like a milestone thing. They might do that during an event. But generally, if there's an event going on, they won't put out any news until that event is over or about to be over. That's pretty standard. Yeah, and we still got a little while before the 5th anniversary. Actually, that's not true. They updated Artoria pretty early on. They just updated her again. Like, Artoria's original animations were so much worse than what y'all were used to. Like, most NA players never even saw her original animations. Her original animations were like, you know, Caesar Day 1 animations. They were just total stock animations. But then not only that, but her character sprite was so bad. Holy shit, her original character sprite was bad. Probably the worst sprite in the entire game. And then they actually updated it to what people were used to, which, let's be real, obviously that wasn't as good as what she has now, but it's light years better than what Jolter has. Like, Artoria's original update made her look way fucking better than Jolter looks now. Like, way fucking better, right? And then Artoria got updated again, and Jolter still hasn't been updated. So that statement's really wrong. Like, they updated Artoria before Jolter, and then they updated Artoria a second time before Jolter. And, yeah, she's kind of blowing Jolter out of the water here, so... Yeah, Emiya Day 1 sprite is bad too, but I think it's absolutely better than Artoria's. If you look at Emiya's original sprite and Artoria's original sprite, I mean, yeah, Emiya's is kind of dumb, but Artoria's is like, she's the pink one, right? It's like, what is going on here? Yeah, most people don't even realize that Artoria and like Emiya have even older animations they never saw because NA started with the updates on day 1. Like, I would say if you compare day 1 Jolter to day 1 Artoria, Jolter looks better. Not that she looks amazing, but I would say Jolter's original character model is better. And her animations are actually better too. And then you got Artoria's original update, which I think makes her look much better than Jolter. And then we got Artoria's next update, which we just got a little while ago, and that one is just, you know, in a different dimension in terms of quality. Actually, it wasn't really referencing the Dean anime, it was just referencing how he uses Aya in the Fate route. Right, that's not unique to Dean. You know, Dean did it that way because that's how it is in the fucking Fate route. Because, you know, Gil doesn't... When Gil uses Aya in the Fate route, he doesn't fucking bust out, like, the super OP Aya. He's not like, oh, let's, you know, go CCC on this bitch, or Fate Zero, or, you know, it's nothing like that. It's just because he's holding it back dramatically in the Fate route, because, you know, he's trying to not fucking kill everyone. We didn't see Aya used in, you know, in a more serious way until, like, Fate Hollow and Fate Zero, and they weren't basing it off of that. Actually, they've never based an A off of the Fate Hollow version, which kind of sucks. That's one of the only times he's ever done the truth effect thing. Because even in CCC, where he uses it like at a way more serious level, and same from Fate Zero and Fate Strange Fake, like, you know, in Fate Strange Fake, he uses it at like a super, you know, high end, but he still doesn't have the whole fancy truth effect thing. Be nice if I could get NP2 Robin. Ow. Jesus. Probably should have put more effort into killing these guys. They're kind of wrecking me. How is Wave 1 going this bad? I haven't really been paying attention to what I've been doing. But why are all the enemies getting their NPs and it's Wave 1 out of 3? That's not great. Guess I was focusing too hard on NP gain. Chat, can you think of any other like super popular waifus that are from like the old days of FGO that haven't gotten updated other than Jolter? I'm trying to think, because they've pretty much updated all of them now, I think. Because let's be real, they definitely prioritize the popular waifus, you know, over things like Hector and whatnot. Although Hector beat Jolter, so there's that. But you know, they've already, you know, they updated Attila, they've updated, yeah, oh, I guess Ushi, okay. But you know, they can't make money off that. Okay, gold waifus, the ones they make money off of, right? Let's be real, you know, Scath, okay, that's fair. Although Scath's animations are much better than day one characters. But like, they don't, other than Jolter, I don't think there's any other gold day one character models. Because, you know, Scath is an older character model in animations, but it's not a day one character model, where Jolter is a day one character model. No, they've updated Joan of Arc. They've updated Nero. Nero's, like, you know, she's not, like, Jesus. Like, I swear this is just because FGO is so old now. People have, like, lost their standards. Like, people don't know, like, it's weird. I remember when, like, Nero got her animation update, I was like, oh wow, these animations are so much better than everything, right? And now people are like, oh yeah, these are day one animations. No, I mean, Nero's are way ahead of day one here. Okita was updated, it just wasn't a huge update. And also, Okita is one of the first units where they started trying to make the character sprites look a little bit better. However, her character model could be better. Yes, Thinno, I guess. Not sure that counts as a super popular waifu, but she's still a gold. And, you know, she is day one, and she has an absolutely terrible character sprite. It's not really even about Scath's animations, it's more of her sprite, like her character sprite. It's still better than a day one character sprite. It's not light years better, but it's absolutely better. Where, you know, Jolter is using the character sprite from Ruler Jolter, which is a day one sprite, thus it looks like trash and has the giant head and all that. Now, Nobu got twinked as well. I would say that counts, but, and again, they're not day one. I mean, there's a noticeable difference between Nobu and Okita versus day one characters, right? There's a very noticeable difference. Yeah, Nobu and Okita don't look like 10 out of 10. And I mean the pre-updated, right? The pre-updated Okita and Nobu look better than, like, you know, day one Artoria and day one Attila and all that stuff. Not light years better, but absolutely better. Because in terms of, like, day one character models, I can really only think of Jolter, and I guess Thinno kind of counts, but that's about it. And obviously we already know Thinno's getting updated. I mean, hell, they already showed off the sprite, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you can find them on the wiki. If you go to literally anyone's wiki page, they'll have all the old sprites and stuff on there, and they are a riot. Okay, fuck, I kind of want to just NP, god. We're dying over here. Yeah, no, they haven't done the Uriel and Thinno update yet. They got delayed though, I think, because of the virus. Or, ouch, I'm pretty sure they're done. It's just whatever event they're supposed to be associated with isn't. Man, one problem why this is going so bad is because I have a lot of units on the field that don't have Buster cards. Yeah, Carmilla was updated. Guys, there's a really easy way to figure out if a character was updated or not. It's like, do they have literal... you know what I think it is? It's because there's not as many units that have day one animations anymore. Like, it used to be so easy for people to, like, see the difference between day one animations versus just even somewhat updated animations, right? Where now there's so much less day one animation characters that people think things like Nero is day one animations. And it's like, oh, you poor, sweet summer child. It's like... Because, I mean, you know, remember fucking, you know, everyone used to have Caesar's animations, right? That stupid jump buster attack. Everyone had that animation, right? It was like all those default animation sets and stuff. But, like, most of those are gone now. I mean, there's still some, but they're characters that people don't use, right? So they don't have, like, a good frame of reference. So it's like, do they look, do they look as bad as Protoku? You know, if the answer is they look a little bit better, then they're probably not day one animations. I cannot believe I'm doing this. This is just the worst. I'm fucking NPing. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this team is doing so badly. No buster cards, can't kill anything, just slowly getting picked to death here. I can't believe how badly this all went. I should have brought Spartacus or something. Even Caster Liz is ahead of day one. Like, she's not light years ahead either, but she's, you know, way better than, you know, good old day one Spartacus and Artoria and Mozart and Matahari, you know, all that trash. Like, God, that dorky ass buster animation that everyone had day one, dude. Fucking Artoria had that originally. See, if I had known the last wave was just two 15k enemies, I would not have been holding back my damage so much. I would have just been using what I had as I went, because these aren't really any stronger than anything else. I think a lot of people forget about Caster Liz. Hell, I forget about Caster Liz sometimes. We were playing this like dumb scribble game last night where like somebody starts drawing in like MS Paint basically, and it's like based on a word, and everyone else there has to like guess what it is based on the shitty drawing. Like as they're drawing it, you're supposed to guess what it is. And we set it up where all the things were fate related. And I don't remember who was drawing it, but they got Caster Liz, and so they like drew like a witch hat and stuff. And I was seriously like, there's no one in Fate that has a witch hat. Right, but it's like, oh yeah, Caster Liz I literally didn't fucking remember Caster Liz existed. Yeah, I thought it might have been you, Vol, I just couldn't remember. That was really annoying though, because I kept knowing what things were super early, but I didn't know how to spell it. Like I think Rex was drawing a Reshagal, and I recognized it so fucking early, and then I'm like, I have no idea how you're supposed to spell a Reshagal, so it took me forever to get it. It's bullshit. They're obviously going to do Lost Belt 2 before the anniversary. I have no idea how you actually knew that was his candor. Literally no one else got it, and and you got it like immediately, like, oh yeah, I don't understand. I did not get that at all. He literally just drew like red scribbles. Alright, what am I gonna bring here? I think one archer's good enough. Okay, hopefully this isn't a boss. You're obviously getting Lost Belt 2 before the anniversary. That would be so messed up otherwise. Honestly, in the entirety of their game, there hasn't actually been that many Lost Belt locked events. It was kind of front loaded, but they haven't done one in ages. Some of that's probably just because there's been a real backlash. People don't really like them. My thing is, I like if they make events harder, but I don't think you need a you know. Okay, there's a real disconnect here where they like don't want to make something hard if everybody can do it, right? Because all the new players can't handle it. But like, if an event's too hard for a new player, then they just don't do it, right? That's fine. Like, that was whatever. Like, and also you got things like Gura Gura where you made the main story really easy, but then you had lots of optional content that was harder, and the new players could use the story supports to make it like trivial, right? That was a great way to handle it. So if you wanted it to be more fun and challenging, you just didn't use the story supports, right? But it's like, for example, I think it's fine to make an event. They've done this. They've literally done this where they come out and say, okay, this event's supposed to be harder. We want it to be more challenging and stuff. And then they Lost Belt lock it, or Solomon lock it, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, look, you can come out and say, this event is supposed to be hard, it's not going to be newbie friendly, you know, we'll give you some heads up to prepare if you want, right? So you can do all of that, and then still let newbies do it if they want to, right? Hell, you can even put a warning when you click the event in-game, if some people don't read the news, right? And where you say, it's like, you know, this event's aimed at veteran players, you know, maybe look out. But you can do it if you want to, right? So, because there's been so many Lost Belt locked events where I'm like, yeah, if I made a new account, I could handle this. Like, you know, I'm not a dumbass, right? There's no point, I don't see the point in locking it. And sometimes they do it for lore, but whenever they do it for lore reasons, like, you don't need to, like, Lost Belt 3 lock it, right? Like, the maze event. Like, seriously, it doesn't need to be Lost Belt 3 locked. You can just be Lost Belt 1 locked. You know, you just need to kind of know what Lost Belts are, right? There's nothing specific about the maze event specific to Lost Belt 3. It's just relying on, like, the Lost Belt storyline in general. So it's like, who cares? And hell, you can even have an event be like, hey, you know, if you're not, you know, it's like you could say this is gonna have like some minor spoilers for like the story, right? Like only land or whatever. They don't really spoil like Solomon and stuff, but you know, they're taking place after it, right? So like the state of MASH is different and that kind of stuff. So you could say there's spoilers, so you know, enter at your own risk. But let's be real, I don't think anyone would care. Literally nothing that happens in the Lost Belt events, you know, or Oni Land and stuff, none of it actually spoils anything. It's just, oh, hey, MASH is in a different state for some reason. Wow, right? That doesn't spoil anything, right? Because then when you see it on, you know, I guess the biggest thing it spoils is the fact that MASH is still alive. So when they get to Solomon and she gets smacked in the face, you're not like, oh, she's dead. You're like, oh yeah, she must survive somehow, right? That's like the only spoilers thing, but that's not really that big of a deal. Wait, I thought MASH did get second ascension already. Maybe I'm crazy, but I thought we already did that. What the fuck? I should have cast Guts. I just LOL double crit, brah. Chat, that's not how MASH works. That's not how MASH works. Her ascensions aren't tied to her level. Why am I having to explain this? Y'all have played the fucking game before. Speaking of this kind of nonsense, I had in my YouTube comments today, somebody referenced the fact that Lancelot is French, because, you know, Lancelot is French. And then someone replied with, what are you talking about? You know, Lancelot is from Arthurian legend, which is British. And I'm like, you can have a story that's British and have characters that aren't. And then someone replied to that with, but Lancelot's British. And I didn't respond. It's like you don't have to like and there, you know, there's different versions of Arthurian legend, like, you know, most things, right? Like that's normal, but like pretty universally it's accepted that, you know, his nationality is French, and then and that's why, you know, like in Fate, you know, he flees to France and everything, right? He's going home with his ball, right? Like, geez, people. Like, I didn't think this was even like an unknown thing. I thought it was pretty known that Lancelot was French. And again, there are some takes on the story where he's not, but overwhelmingly he generally is, right? And I didn't find that, I didn't think that was even remotely an unknown thing. And even if it is, even if you didn't know, you know, fair enough, right? But it shouldn't be surprising to you if you see someone like casually talking about the fact that Lancelot's French. You'd think you'd be like, oh hey, I never really thought about what his nationality was. Not, oh hey, Arthurian Legends is from Britain, so therefore everyone in it has to be British, right? Like that, why would your brain even go there? Because again, I get it, some people probably just haven't looked into it or thought about it, or maybe they only read one version of it where, you know, it didn't mention his nationality, or it wasn't French or whatever. But you'd think your first step would be like, oh hey, right, you know, I never really thought about this. Maybe I should go look into it for literally 5 seconds, you know, do a Google search or something. Obviously, Columbus is American, right? Because like, legit, I don't think it's weird if somebody, you know, isn't really up in the know of the different nationalities that Lancelot generally is in the stories. But like, because let's be real, there's, I mean, even me, I'm big into Arthurian legends and stuff, but there's certain characters in it where I have never really even looked into what their nationality is. And so if I heard that, if I saw in a YouTube comment like one of the other Knights of the Round or something was German or something, you know, instead of, I wouldn't even say anything, I would just go look into it, right? I just go like, I wonder if that's true or not, right? I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna be like, oh no, this is a British story. Also, Arthurian legend is mostly like, or originates from Welsh. Like, a lot of it's copied from Welsh stuff. And just Celtic stuff in general. Although those stories were probably copied from something else older and stuff, and you know, does how legends go. "32 hero proofs, man. That's not even one character. That's not even one character. That's like a skill for a lot of people. Although we haven't bought them from the shop yet. We'll get 30 more from the shop, from the event. It actually, you know, we obviously, there's so much stuff that's lost to time. There's so much stuff that's lost to time. And a lot of times things transform a lot. Like, you know, like a game of phone where it starts off as X, and then you'll see a lot of stuff that's derivative of X, but then that kind of, you know, goes out into other things that end up becoming Y, Z, and then ultimately A, right? But then other things are staying similar to X and they're going off in a different direction, right? But it wouldn't have surprised me if we had some perfect take on history where none of the stories are lost and we could actually trace where everything came from and what was based on what and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if you could trace Arthurian legend back to the Epic of Gilgamesh. That would not surprise me in the slightest. It's actually fairly plausible. However, it's definitely a story that, like, you know, changed a hell of a lot more if it is, because a lot of stuff, it just has really light influence from something, and then that influences something else, and then they don't even know about the original thing, right? And that happened a lot with the Epic of Gilgamesh. Very much so, though, with, like, the religions and stuff in the area, you know, like, with, like, the Bible and the Quran and stuff, you know, a lot of those pull a lot heavier from those kinds of things. But they weren't pulling directly from the Epic of Gilgamesh, they were pulling from other, like, local religions and stuff that were a bit older, which were, you know, they were pulling from other stuff that ultimately went back to the Epic of Gilgamesh and stuff. It's kind of weird the way that stuff plays out. Yeah, they added more and more Christian stuff too, and like they're, you know, and that's how a lot of stuff goes, right? It's where you have, you know, you'll have stories or basic concepts of like, a lot of times they may not even copy the names and stuff, but they'll just take the premise of like, you know, a knight doing X, Y, or Z, or a king doing X, Y, or Z, or a flood, or whatever. But then they'll inject their own philosophies or beliefs or whatever into it. And like, so like with Arthurian legend, you know, they added a lot of Christian stuff into it, like the Sword of David and things like that. You know, where like obviously in the Welsh stuff that wasn't really there. That's very normal though. Like a lot of, you know, almost all cultures would do that kind of stuff. They would just take a basic idea or theme from some other story, and then they kind of just reinterpret it in their own way. Oh yeah, that's true. It's totally possible that there's stuff that the Epic of Gilgamesh was based off of. We have no evidence of that, but that's because the Epic of Gilgamesh is just the oldest story that we have. You know, we don't, you know of what's before it. A lot of people think it's really hard to say because the evidence from that era is just so fucking old and so much stuff is missing and everything, but there is some okay evidence that suggests this kind of thing. And it's definitely in line with like a lot of stuff from the era. Or what a lot of people think is there was, like, the Epic of Gilgamesh is based off of a real person. There was a king named Gilgamesh, but they're taking his exploits and stuff and personifying it and basically using it as a parable, right? Like they're it's not like the actual king, this actual King Gilgamesh, you know, had a friend made by the gods and went on a quest for immortality and all this stuff. It could be as simplistic as, yeah, there was a king that was kind of a tyrant jackass, but as he got older, he got wiser and was less of a jackass. It could have literally just been that and nothing else, right? And the rest of it is just, you know, built up fantasy. And then that fantasy could have been pulling from other stories, right? There might have already been other stories about like someone seeking immortality or you know, the gods doing X, Y, and Z and all this kind of stuff, right? But a lot of people think it's something like that, but it's just too old to know. Like, you know, obviously because the laws of physics exist, we're aware that the story is not strictly true, right? But you know, like if it's based on true stuff, you know, we're not really sure. Dude, I love the Beowulf stuff. It's just awesome. Beowulf is probably my next Grail target on my main account. After Canis is done, I think the next thing I'm grailing is going to be Beowulf, and then probably Tesla. I might do Tesla first. I'm not really sure. We'll kind of see how things go. I'll tell you what. If Tesla got rated up really soon, then it would be Tesla. And if Beowulf got rated up really soon, it would be Beowulf. Because I have NP1 Tesla and NP1 Beowulf, which is kind of unsatisfying. I want NP2 of both. And if I ever got NP2 of one or the other, that would definitely be the one that I would grail first. So, in the meantime, I don't know what... If neither of them get rated up anytime soon, then I'm not really sure which one I'll pick. I'll just have to think about it. Beowulf has only ever had half a rate up. He had a split rate up where he shared the 4-star slot with Fionn, and that was the only rate up he ever had, which is insanity, but it is what it is. If they do a free 4-star ticket for anniversary, I probably will pick Beowulf. Actually, I know I'll pick Beowulf. There's nothing else. The only, well, it's either him or Hercules, because I'm kind of my Hercules thirst, if you will, has kind of been sated here because we got him on this account and I'm gonna be playing this account a lot and everything, but I still want him on my main account. I really like Hercules, man, and he's really good, and I've hated that I don't have him on my main account forever. So yeah, if they do a free 4-star, it's between Beowulf and Herc, and I don't really know what to do. I would normally say Beowulf just because I generally favor NP2ing a servant that I have at NP1 over getting a new servant. I generally think that's way more practical, and I just, you know, I think the game's more fun that way for me and stuff like that. But I really like Hercules, but also really like Beowulf, so I don't know, it's kind of fucked. I think FGO does do Beowulf justice pretty well. They actually reference, like, you know, his wiser years and his fight with the dragon and that kind of stuff, and then like his Noble Phantasm, I think, is really well based off of his life, and it's also one of the stronger Noble Phantasms out there. It's pretty crazy. I think they did a pretty good job. Like, obviously his design isn't quite what you would expect, but in terms of like his abilities and stuff, like I don't think he'll realize how strong Beowulf is in Fate. He's really fucking strong. But yeah, I think they actually did a really good job with him. Like, his Bond CE really references, you know, his wiser years and all that stuff, and I think they actually understood what that story was actually about. So many people they literally don't understand what the whole story arc of Beowulf is even about. They really miss it. I think they actually got it, for the most part in Fate. Now, they don't explore it very well and expand on it much, but they at least, they at least got the idea when they originally designed him. I mean, he is pretty OP. Like, Jesus Christ, Beowulf's NP is super fucking OP, and then gameplay-wise, he's really good too. Like, he's definitely stronger in FGO lore than he is in FGO gameplay, but he's very good in FGO gameplay. Like, he's very, very good. He's easily one of the better Berserkers. Yeah, he's not as good as, like, you know, Kualter and Hercules and stuff, but he's really up there. Ever since they buffed his second skill, he is a damn good Berserker, and he puts a lot of the other gold Berserkers to absolute shame. I mean, he's way better than, like, Vlad and Banana Oni and stuff like that. He's way, way, way better than them. The thing is, they actually are pretty aware that he doesn't fit the Berserker class, but he's in it because Beowulf is basically the foundation of the concept of a Berserker, and like the word Berserker, that's where it comes from. But that's why they gave him really low Manus enhancement. So I think they handled Beowulf extremely well. God, if they buff Hercules, I think if they ever buff Hercules, they'll just buff his NP, which I actually think is reasonable, because you don't NP that often on Hercules, so it wouldn't make that big of a difference. It would definitely make a difference, but it wouldn't be that big of a deal. So I think if they ever do it, they'll just generically upgrade his NP. Which, you know, fair enough. Because honestly, you know, that would not break him, but the thing is, I think they want him to be one of the better 4-stars, and also, I think he ended up being stronger than they had intended, but I think they're kind of just running with that now, and they're like, oh yeah, it works, it's fine, because, you know, Hercules is supposed to be crazy fucking OP, and people like him, so if he's like just this 4-star that's crazy strong, that's fine, right? Like, they're clearly fine with that. I think it's kind of how they feel about Ku. It's like, it's fine if he's way stronger than a 3-star should be. Did I not cast Guts? What is wrong with me? I keep just letting Spartacus die for no fucking reason. I'm like holding back my, I'm like overly trying to save my resources. And like, I played with it really frustrates me because so many people don't have no idea how to like evaluate a unit or whatever, and they try to say Ku's overrated or whatever. But it's like, I've used Ku at 70 loads, I've used literally every other 3-star in the game at 70 loads, and I've used basically every 1 to 3-star at 100 and 90 and everything else, you know, many times. And like, when we compare units and stuff, I mean, I'm sure Beastly will agree with me on this. It's like, when we do things like, even like solo stuff, like when we do, what's her name, Luvia, when you fight her in Lost Belt 5, right? That was like a good testing ground to test everything, right? Almost all the 3-stars at 100 wouldn't do that well there, right? You know, they're good, but like, you know, 3-stars only have so much value generally, and they don't, if you have like a Grailed 5-star, right, like an NP3 5-star or an NP5 5-star, right? And you compare them to like a level 100 3-star, yeah, the 3-stars keep up, but they're normally, you know, a good bit behind, right? Like, very much so. But when you use Ku, he's generally completely on par with the 5-stars, or sometimes he's better than them, which is just ridiculous, right? There really aren't any other 3-stars that I can think of where that happens. Like, when you pimp out everybody, when the whole game is super pimped out, and you compare them against something that's really tough, you can normally easily see the difference between like an NP, like, okay, a level 100 3-star will generally keep up with or maybe outperform like a level 100 5-star that's NP1, right? And let's be real, there's a lot of 5-stars that are NP1. Most 5-stars are NP1 because they're really hard to get at a high NP rank. But when the 5-star is NP5 or even just NP3 or something, generally none of the 3-stars keep up. But Ku fucking does, because, I mean, like, the fact that he's comparable to Enkidu is just ridiculous. Right, because, you know, we're comparing him to like a really pimped out Enkidu, and Enkidu's a 5-star. Like, we got like NP3 Enkidu, and then Ku is like on par with that. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, it's like, you know, there's just certain units, like Beastly says, that are just really busted for their rarity and blatantly get like way more value than that rarity generally gets. And Hercules is one of those. Fujino is one of those. Ku is one of those. Mash is one of those. You know, and some of them are hard to quantify because some of them are more, you know, just so purely team based or so utility based. It's kind of hard to quantify. But when you play the game a lot and you do a lot of challenge quests with a lot of different, you know, restrictions, or then when you do with not restrictions, you know, how does Mozart do when you're going balls to the wall? How does Mozart do when you're kind of more free to play? You know, and like Mozart, although if you try to like have him solo, obviously he's not going to do very well. But when you look at the actual impact he can have on a team, it is much higher than most 1-stars can have, right? Because he has a guaranteed one turn where everyone crits no matter what. You know, then he's got this really large art up that may be very simplistic, but that's a pretty big impact. However, it's not as big of an impact as like Tam or whatever, right? Like obviously not, aside from maybe the crit thing sometimes. But God, Baldi is like, you know, Baldi's not a bad 3-star though. That's the thing. I always have to say this. It's like, you know, he's so overrated and all that, sure. But he's still not a bad 3-star, and he still compares okay to a lot of other things. He's just, you know, definitely not as good as a lot of people make him out to be. Are there any 5-stars that hit above their weight? I mean, it's kind of hard to say because there is nothing above their weight, but there's definitely 5-stars that are way ahead of the other 5-stars, if you will, right? You know, and obviously, you know, you got like some like Kualter, got Juna, you know, some of the really, you know, like Gilgamesh, Ishtar, you know, that kind of stuff generally is a good bit ahead of the other 5-stars. Like if you took every 5-star in the game and made all of them level 100, all of them 10, 10, 10, all of them 2K Fode, you know, MP5, all that stuff, there are definitely some that do a lot better. Super Orion is a weird one because there's certain contexts where he's like bullshit strong, but then there's some pretty simplistic stuff that he's trash for, and he performs terribly in, like really bad. So he's not one of, like, it just depends. There are certain circumstances where Orion is, you know, way stronger than most things, and he can do like way more, you know, burst damage than most things should be able to do, like clearly. But then he's got some real, you know, like if you're, let's say Summer 3. Let's say you could use Orion in the Summer 3 challenge quest. Orion would not be very good there. Like he just wouldn't. Like it's not gonna work out. Where like Ishtar and Gilgamesh are actually very good there, right? And they're gonna absolutely do better than him, right? So he's not one of these 5-stars that just universally does super well. However, there are certain contexts where he does better than like any unit ever should. Right, because, you know, fights aren't always like Summer 3 or what have you, where it's like, you know, multiple enemies and all that kind of stuff. When you do just have like this one thing you need to murder, the total numbers, like the actual like raw damage numbers he can throw out are way fucking higher than normal. Like just way fucking higher than normal. It's kind of a weird turn, but I want to MP with Robin and Drake at the same time. It's funny, at this point in the game, where I'm at, like, on this account, if you had a waiver, and when you are needing to kill assassins, waiver actually would work. It's kind of weird, but, I mean, it would work. It's not quite as simple as break bars, because sometimes enemies have break bars, but you're only supposed to, they're scaled where you're only supposed to like do, you know, decent burst damage each break bar, and he can do that, right? It's when you've got like gimmicks, and there's multiple enemies. Multiple enemies is really what gets him. He's not, because there's some AoE servants that are so good at AoEing that they work in AoE situations and single target situations. It's really hard for a single target person to work in an AoE situation, right? The gameplay mechanics don't really work that way. And there just are certain gimmicks and stuff that can be really bad for him in that game. Like, if there's certain fights where the game forces you to slow the fuck down if you like it or not, and he's not really good for that kind of thing. But I think Orion is way above average. Like, if I ever do the 5-star tier list, he's going to be very high on it. Like, no question. See ya, Fury. I get really annoyed with the FGO community because I feel like everything is 0 or 11 with them. You know, it's got to be someone's broken or they're just meh, right? It's like, no, you can just be really good but not broken, right? Like that's actually very common in games. I think people are just really bad at telling when some like they'll see someone in literally their best circumstance, right? You'll have like Scaff where she's an event servant against an enemy with divinity, right? And then so her performance is just crazy good, right? And there aren't gimmicks there that like, really fuck up like her lower NP gain or block her stun or whatever. And it's like, oh my god, she's so strong. But then it's like, that's a circumstance where like, of course she's going to excel there, right? A lot of times with Orion, I see him used in situations where it's like, of course he's going to excel there. And then literally no one uses him in all the places where he doesn't excel. And then people act like he's good for everything. It's like, no, he's not. Or they use him with like, Waver, Merlin, Nero Bride, blah, blah, blah. It's like everything's good in that context. Now, I do think Orion is better in that context than most people. Like, at no point in my life have I ever argued that Orion is not excellent. He absolutely is super, super fucking excellent. But it's like, he's not OP. Like, he's just not. Like, he's OP in certain circumstances, but that's how a lot of characters are. It's like, there's certain circumstances where like all kinds of characters become OP because it's literally the perfect situation for them. And I think he has more situations like that than a lot of other characters do, but it's not all the time, right? There's some characters that are basically busted all of the time. It doesn't matter what the fuck the content is, right? And they're just super, super busted. And I think Ku Ulter is a good example of this, right? There are absolutely times where Orion is way better than Ku Ulter, right? Like if you're going to do a setup where you're supposed to win in 3 turns, and Orion's going to be a lot better than that. But like a lot of times Ku Ulter would still win. He just won't win quite as fast, but he would still have beaten that stage, right? And then there's a bunch of other stages where Orion just wouldn't work, or Orion to work would need much more extreme supports than Ku Ulter would need to win. Right, so like the total usability of Ku Ulter, I think, is actually way better than Orion. There are a few situations where that's not the case, but I think a big part of it is it's like Ku Ulter can win with the really disgusting stuff, and he can still win with really simplistic stuff. He doesn't need Merlin, Waver, all this nonsense to win, right? And then but he's still really good with those things, and then he also can solo a lot of things. Because like that's a sign of a good unit, in my opinion. Is they work when on the high end, and they still work when you don't have all the broken nonsense. And Orion does work without broken nonsense, and that's why I like him, because unlike Baldi, he doesn't rely on just insane RNG or really OP supports to carry him. Like it's really easy. Like Orion's gameplay is just really smooth, right? Solo or in a team, budget team, whale team, either way, it's really reliable to kind of get his gimmick going and to get really good results out of it, right? Where a lot of the other units similar to Orion, that's not the case. They're way more RNG dependent, or they're more dependent on just like throwing a million OP supports at them. Yep, Ku Ulter's just disgusting. And it's weird because I remember back in the day, people used to really accept that he was just one of the most, this thing can carry you against almost everything, and then people act like it's just not a thing anymore, but it is. And yeah, and I've always said there are certain styles of boss fight that are definitely bad for Ku Ulter. That definitely happens from time to time. But I'd say he's one of the most universal DPS carries. He's one of the only DPS that can carry as hard as like Merlin, right? Not quite as hard maybe, but definitely up there. Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing. I think Orion easily work. Like you could just use Hans with Orion, and it's gonna go great, right? It is really easy to get Orion's gimmicks off, right? Yeah, they may not be as good on a more simplistic team, but it's still good enough. Like Orion is, I would seriously say he's one of the better archers in the game, like no question. But I don't think he's like so good. Like it's still very apples and oranges. There are easily there are times where Ishtar and Gilgamesh and stuff are better. Like there's plenty of fights like that. And a big thing what really helps Orion is the fact that he has a star gen skill that just makes stars. So it's like, okay, because what can happen is on a lot of other units, the turn that you're able to have a lot of stars, you don't have necessarily a lot of control over, or it's in a time limited window, and within that window, you never got a good hand for them to crit with, right? And then you finally get a good hand with them, and then like, Hans's third skill is gone, and now you're not making as many stars, and then you're not, then you might not crit anymore, right? Or it's like if you're like with Baldi and he needs to generate the stars himself, just the right turns to generate stars are not followed by a turn where he has damage, right? So stuff can just get really messed up like that. And then yeah, you could bring other units to compensate for that and bring other units that can generate stars and things like that, but that limits your options, or maybe you don't have those units. Orion just on his own has a button, you click button, you made a fuckload of stars, right? So it's like, oh hey, I have a good hand. so I click that button, right? And then, oh, hey, I don't have a good hand, so I don't click that button. You know, that makes him so much more consistent. Like, if Baldi could click a button and make 20 stars, that would help him so much. That would cut down on his RNG a huge amount. No, Ku Alter is not stronger than regular Berserker Ku. He himself says he's weaker. And not only that, something you gotta understand, now Ku Alter is very strong, don't get me wrong. But a lot of people have gotten a kind of a false impression of how strong he is lore-wise because of America. He's stronger in America than he normally is because he's being supercharged by the Grail. And so he's not normally that powerful. Now, he's still fucking powerful. There's nothing that suggests he's not, and he has a character material book, and he is powerful, but he's certainly not as powerful as some people make him out to be. And Ku Alter himself says he's much weaker than regular Berserker Ku, which should not be surprising. Like, it would be so dumb if he was stronger than regular Berserker Ku, because regular Berserker Ku is based off of like the warp spasm stuff that happened in Ku's Legends and stuff. That should blatantly be the most powerful version of Ku, like, obviously. Like, that shit is insane. Like, like, if you look up, like Warp Spasm and Ku, literally just Google it, you'll see what I'm talking about. That obviously should be the strongest version of Ku, and that's always what they've said. And so that would be ridiculous if fanfiction Ku was for some reason stronger than legit Berserker Ku. That would be really stupid. Yeah, the description is disgusting, but it's also OP and ridiculous, so... But yeah, they've really reinforced that regular Warp Spasm Berserker Ku is not only really powerful, but he's basically uncontrollable and like is a huge threat to his master and everything. Because that's how he was when he went berserk like that. He didn't distinguish friend from foe and all that kind of stuff. So it's like you better have like command spells for him or something. I hope we see him at some point. I don't know if we're going to though. Like that interlude with Ku Alter makes me think that they might do it because that was basically them trying to sell, Warp Spasm Ku, right? But I don't know. I think that might have just been a fun nod they wanted to do, especially because they had mentioned Warp Spasm Ku way back in Fate Stay Night. I think they might be like, oh, there's already enough Kus, right? Like, I feel like the existence of Ku Alter lowers the chances of us ever seeing regular Berserker Ku by so much. Because if they ever want to do another Ku, they're like, okay, we've already done Berserker, so let's do like Rider or Saber or something, right? It's rare that they want to do two things that are like the same class for a character, right? And normally when they do that, it's because there's already an established version, right? FGO didn't make Saber Lily, right? She already existed. They didn't make Saber Alter, she already existed, right? So that's why they're all Sabers. I just don't see them wanting, if they do make another Ku, I think they're going to want to do a different class. I think there's a chance they would do another Ku someday because he is one of the most popular male characters. But again, I think they would just do like Rider or Saber or something. I mean, Ku's most famous weapon is a sword, so I mean, yeah, they might do. I don't know, I kind of feel like if they did another Ku, they'd probably do Rider because they've literally already talked about him having a chariot NP. So it's really easy for them to do that as a Rider. Alright, what are we fighting here? Guess Ushi makes sense. Man, I've been throwing with Spartacus so much. I want Hawaiian Shirt Ku to just be a costume though. That's just make it a costume for Lancer Ku. Because when he wore that in Fate Hollow, it was just his Lancer self, right? So there's no reason to make a new version for it. And also because I don't want to have to roll again. I don't know if they, the way they portrayed him, I don't think they'd make a Warp Spasm Ku a 4-star. I mean, you never know. They do weird things with rarity all the time. But I feel like they might make it 5-star. And also because a lot of things that males that they're willing to make 5 stars are oftentimes like monsters. And this is like a thing where like guys really like monsters. That's like a real thing. Like they did like a lot of analytics on like which favorite characters people like in Smash, and which out of the new characters, which like Smash Brothers, which ones they like more. And guys overwhelmingly like for the new characters like obviously like Ridley and what's his name, King K. Rool and that kind of stuff. That's a really easy way to get like Ivan. People really like Ivan, right? Guys really like their cool monsters, right? So like if you want to sell a male character as a 5-star rarity, I think they often are like, yeah, we'll just make it really, you know, over the top and monstrous and that kind of thing, because I think that appeals to guys a lot. So I could see them doing it as a 5-star. However, I mean, they made Hot Wheels a 4-star. They made Canis a 4-star, right? So it's, I mean, they can make, you know, all kinds of OP things 4-stars if they want to, just based on when they're released and that kind of thing. And hell, they can make them a welfare. So I mean, who knows? So it's certainly possible they'd make Warp Spasm Coup a 4-star, but I could easily see it being a 5-star. Yeah, I guess they could make it where like one of his forms he's not in the full-on Warp Spasm mode, and then one of the forms he is, but it sounds like he's like always out of control, basically. That's like the whole thing. Because like Ku as a heroic spirit, pure heroic spirit Ku has Bolg, he has his sword, he has his chariot, he has his castle, and Warp Spasm is just something he can do, right? It's just like an aspect of him, right? Where the Lancer Ku is like embodying just the Lancer side of things and just has Bolg and that kind of stuff. Where and it doesn't have Warp Spasm. Lancer Ku cannot Warp Spasm, right? Where the Berserker self is like just focusing on the Warp Spasm thing, and like that's just what he does, right? Where like true heroic spirit Ku would just have it as a thing that he could do, but he's not in Warp Spasm all the time. But kind of like how Ku is basically just the Bolg and ruins, right? Warp Spasm Ku is potentially just Warp Spasm Ku, like he's just the Warp Spasm all the time. But we'll see, maybe not. Warp Spasm is basically Ku going absolutely mental and turning into a giant monstrosity. I don't know how else to put it. He just turns into a giant fucking monstrosity, like an abomination, and he murders everything. So he only did it like twice ever. Like it was a very rare thing, but it was really fucked up when it happened. That's what they say, though. They say he'd be really difficult to control and it would be a huge threat to his master and stuff. Coulter's like basically warning you about him, and like you don't want none of that. And that whole thing is basically like that meme with the heavy from Team Fortress, right? Where he's all, you know, no man scares me, but that thing, you know, it's basically that. I mean, Chaldir doesn't really control what they summon. They don't get to cherry pick what's in the pool or not. Yeah, because Ku Alter is not based on, you know, the Warp Spasm in any way, and it's not even Ku. You know, Ku Alter is just a, you know, a made-up servant by Mev and the Grail, so he's not based on any of that stuff. So obviously he's not like super monstrous and all that. Like, and the reason why Ku Alter's monstrous at all is actually because of the monster that they killed to make Bolg. Although Fate just got that wrong. I've looked into this a lot. They literally just messed that up. That monster that they referenced that they built Bolg out of is not the right monster. That's actually in the real legends. There's I can't remember their names. Their names are all weird shit. But the actual monster that they build Bolg out of is killed by this other sea monster. Like they just had like a Godzilla kaiju fight, and there's literally like no heroes are even involved. And this other monster kills this. So the Bolg monster is like, I think it has like the body of a woman, the face of a dog, and some shit. Like it's like some weird and like sea monstrosity, and it's murdered by this other sea monster. And that other sea monster is the one that Fate uses for Bolg, which is just wrong. I think they just messed it up. And yeah, Ku Alter's like based off that thing, that sea monster. It's really weird, man. It's really weird. Oh, I killed the music. Whoops. Oh. Oh. I forgot about this boss fight. I don't have the right team for this at all. Oh god. This is not the right team at all. I'm just gonna restart now. I know this well enough that my team is so wrong. That's not gonna work in the slightest. Okay. God, I don't want to use a story support here. Like they're just. I'm just gonna do that because I don't want a dead slot on my team. Well, I don't really want to do that either. I don't want a unit that just dies turn 1. That's really pointless. Especially when Herc is a dead weight that I can't use either. Like, I can't have 2 dead weights on my team. Hold on. I really wish I had NP2 Robin. That would be swell. Oh, I forgot about Paris. There's a bronze we didn't have. Chaldio summoning has literally nothing to do with summoning like in a Grail War. They're not even remotely related. Good old Stella, man. Ushi's actually one of our best nukers right now, just because she's NP3 and she's single target and she's attack up. But I don't want her to like use up all of our gas when we're dealing with Hercules and then not have her for Medea. So this is a little bit awkward. Because Robin is just not, he's okay, but because he's only NP1, like even at NP2 he'd be like totally fine, but at NP1 he's not quite enough oomph. Our coup is what, NP2? It might be NP3? Coup might be a better option just because, I don't know, I mean Robin's good though because he also has the attack down and that kind of stuff. Yeah, we don't have a lot of single target nuking yet. Hopefully that'll be good enough, but yeah, at NP1 I'm not sure. Let me see if I have like, I don't want to summon anything that's like over leveled at all. Let me look at my main account and see if I can do something. Where the hell? Oh, I got, you know, we could use Drake, honestly. She can clean up Medea Lily decently well, and that means I can use Ushi in the front. Like, she's not amazing, but I mean, it's like, there's nothing more legit than a story support, right? You can't really get more legit than that. His song's from Batman Beyond. Really good at soundtrack. Man, Batman Beyond was awesome. That's like some good shit right there. Worried about NP gain doing it this way. See, this is like guaranteed win, right? But I want that Herc bond, but then we don't want Herc to carry us. It's all very awkward. I'll be glad when we're far enough in that we're like okay with using Hercules, but that's not going to be for a while. Yeah, like the evolution from like Mr. Freeze from the animated Batman series into Batman Beyond, because you know they're like connected, was really good. Batman Beyond is actually my favorite like Batman related thing ever. I'm normally not even a huge Batman fan. I don't like hate it or anything, and like I like a lot of the villains and stuff. But Batman Beyond was great. All right. So NP gain is like 300%, the only thing we care about. I almost want to not taunt here and just save it for the boss. And if anyone gets smacked, I can just heal them. It's a little risky. This is why it's nice when your George has his first kill at 10, because then his cooldown is short enough you could use it for this crap and then use it again later. I guess we'll save it. Of course, they just, you know, don't touch George and fuck up my DPS. The problem is if I go that slow on damage, you're not gonna kill these guys and you're gonna have a bad time. Can I, like, we're so early, you know, in low level. We're so low level that, you know, trash mobs can actually fuck us up. Thank you for demonstrating, Mr. Archer. Okay, we have to taunt now. This is ridiculous. The music knows. Yeah, I know, Ushi's just... Oh, God. He's a mess. What the fuck? When I don't... Just... I like how when I don't have taunt up, they're like, fuck up Robin, get him, crit him, get him, right? And then I taunt and they're like, everyone hold back, pull back, prep for later, get the buffs for later. God. These bastards, man. Hopefully this NP will take out George. Of course not. Oh my god. And now George might not die before either my DPS. And I don't think Ushi's gonna... Well, we'll see. Just give me Ushi's art card. Oh wait, the deck hasn't shuffled yet. Okay, I hadn't gotten it yet, so that's fine. Because I want Ushi to overcharge Robin. I'm looking forward to smacking Tristan in the face. Hey, user. Guess we'll give it to Robin. NP1 Robin. What are we gonna get here? Yeah, there we go. Get that shit out of here. It's funny, it's actually hard to get that kind of damage when you're this low level, so it's kind of nice. Okay, now we just gotta deal with this. Still thunderstorming over there? That's rough. Weather actually looks pretty grim over here, but it's not actually storming. Jesus. She's doing some damage. I thought about saving Robin with the invulnerability, but because he was close to getting his NP. But I guess I'll just give it to Uchi. I mean, we'll win with that, so. Oh yeah, we win. Animation update though. We did get a fair bit of health back there, all things considered. This probably won't kill, but it'll get really close, and we're gonna make a bunch of crit stars, so. Drake with the kill steal, man. Uchi did all the damn work here. Let's see, we got a few more fights with Hercules. And then, is it the Demon Pillar? I know we're getting kind of close to the Demon Pillar, which that's actually going to be a bitch. I wish we had Hans. I want to see this part in an anime. Because Asterios actually has... I don't know if an anime would realize this and they might just, you know, have it be a losing battle for Asterios and he just buys you some time. But, like, Asterios actually has a higher strength stat than Hercules. And Asterios has the monstrous strength skill. So, in terms of raw oomph, Hercules, or Asterios should be able to manhandle Hercules, but obviously Hercules has got the skill and you know, God Hand, and all that stuff. But, that could be such a fucking awesome fight if it was done well. Let's see, chapter 11, so yeah, we're getting there. Why is it gotta be hero proofs? It's like upgrading Mash's skills is a really safe investment because everyone wants to 10-10-10 her eventually. But for the Demon Pillar, I'm thinking I might want that first skill upgraded some. Why does it have to be hero proofs? This is why, even if I did get the free 5-star, I would not have picked Karna or Artoria. There's just, I mean, those are the two that chat wanted the most, but no. Like, I don't need someone else that takes hero proofs on top of the 1,000 things that by default, you know, need hero proofs. Do I have a blue black key yet? Yep. Level 1, but you know. I'd be glad if I had an MLB Black Key. That'd be nice. Might happen before we get any other, you know, 4 or 5 star Cs that would replace it. So whichever one happens first. It's funny, later on, you mostly use Robin's golden rule for a repeat NP, like the second one. Because you normally have higher starting NP, you know, you can get the first NP easier, and the fights go on longer. But early game, it's not like that at all, and you like really prioritize just getting your NP once, for God's sakes. And you're not worrying so much about getting it the second time. It's much harder to get it the first time, and the fight's not likely to go on as long to need a second one anyway. Like that overkill. Robin, don't crit. Although I don't think he'd kill him if he did crit. That went well. We're able to build up like we wanted, didn't take too much damage, and we can still taunt with George. And before this isn't a boss fight, and I'm over preparing. Yeah, not exactly a boss, but... Chad, it's a dangerous ghost, though. Come on, 30%! Yeah! Books are not afraid of ghosts, chat. Might not actually kill here. I think we will. Let's get defense down. Maybe not. Oh god. Alright. Low levels, man. Low levels without attack foes. We're gonna have a decent amount of attack foes soon, though. We can buy the ones from the shop, and we'll get the ones from the event, so that's 2. The question is, who do we give them to? Giving them to Ushi would make sense for the Demon Pillar. Robin is a good investment in the long run. Obviously there's Hercules, but we're not using Hercules for anything important for a while. Yeah, Arjuna's under attack from Zeus. That's rough. I mean, 1 team cost. I guess I just go with something a bit more reasonable here. Want to kill at least one of these guys. There we go. Don't do that. What a dick, man. Bond up CEs would actually kind of be nice though for the long run for Hercules. Beyond that though, I don't care about Bond at all. Although we want at least one person with decent Bond by the time we get to Hercules. Guadia, but you don't need that much. I mean, Asterios and Hans basically mean you're gonna win no matter what, and it's just the Bond makes it faster. You could do it with like a Bond 1 Ushi, right? Like you don't need anything fancy. Like our 1 to 3-star account had no problem with Guadia at all. We literally just used Hans, Asterios, and Ushi. I think that account's Ushi was like Bond 6 or something, and it was like, it just didn't matter. You can live forever with that setup if you play it properly. So many people don't know how to play that setup though. They don't front load. Like you have to front load your survivability completely. Like, because you're not going to need your evade and your heal and your defense ups later, right? Once Asterios gets going, you don't need that stuff. Right, so but those first few turns where you haven't gotten the car going yet, you haven't got your engine started, right? That's where you need to blow all your defensive stuff. You use your evade from the Mystic Code. You have Ushi use her evade. Right after that, you use Asterios uses defense up. You have Hans uses NP right away, right? And then once you've gotten through a few turns, then Asterios has started NPing, and you're fine. Let's go 50-50. Honestly, Human King Guadia will be harder, and that's very common for like real free-to-play accounts, where human form is actually harder than demon form. Demon form is just really easy to cheese, where human form is a bit harder to cheese, especially if you don't have any bond. Also, it's just there's so many units that you could summon to solo Demon Guadia, where there are some units that can solo Human Guadia, but it's less. There's actually less units that can solo him. Yeah, that's how it was on the 1 to 3-star account. We beat Demon Guadia 1 try, no problem. Then I don't remember if we beat Human Guadia in 1 try or not, but I remember we definitely had to put more thought and effort into what we were doing. I seriously don't remember if we one-shot him or not, though. I mean, I think for a lot of people, Demon Guadia is harder, especially if they go in blind, because normally they really front load their team, then the whole front row dies, right? Then they're pretty fucked. A lot of people really struggle to figure out how to beat Guadia. A lot of people don't know how to use death manipulation. They don't see his NP as a good thing, right? So I see loads of people get stuck on Demon Guadia and give up trying to do it legit, and they just summon Hercules or Kualter to solo it for them. I see that all the time. Like that's very common. I don't think I really need to heal Fergus. We don't really need him to survive. Feels bad, but better to focus on Nursery Rhyme. That's a lot of oof. Stop draining the book. Of course. That's why we saved the heal, though. So, she's literally a cursed book right now. And we got that new, particle effect, which is kind of funny. Yeah, you can do DPS storage, that is the thing. She's gonna be so good with Mozart, dude. I've actually never done that. I've never actually gotten to do that, but we will on this account. Hoping we can get to the Demon Pillar today, but we might have to do it tomorrow. I'm not going to stream as long today as I did the other days, because I'm a bit behind today. But if we don't quite get there, we'll get it, so it'll be like at the start of the next stream. So, we'll see. There's a lot of filler. There's a lot of filler in this story. There are some okay bosses, though. It's a bit better. Oh, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe we grail Mozart just to give him some extra health. I mean, we'll get to grail a lot of things. We're not grailing much to 100, if anything to 100. We're going to be grailing a lot of things to 80 and 90. So we'll actually have a lot of grails to work with. Chat, what do? Do we do Epic of Remnant first or Lost Belt? I would say Epic of Remnant because I don't do them as often. And we haven't even done them on the 1 to 3 star account. But it's kind of tempting to do Lost Belts just in case there is okay, chat's overwhelmingly Epic of Remnant, and I feel that way too. I feel that way too, and then we get more grails that way, and like Shimosa is harder than a lot of the early Lost Belts. So I'm with chat. The only thing is, like I said, is if there's a Lost Belt locked event, I'll miss out on it, right? If I'm not doing Lost Belts. But yeah, doing Epic of Remnant first would be fun. Level up. Oh, you see the sub? Thank you for the reset, Virginia, for 25 months. Just keep dodging the lightning. Thank you though. That's true. We get cool buffs from doing Epic of Remnant like Fumas and all that. That is true. I mean, overwhelmingly, I'd rather do Epic of Remnant because it was made first. You know, it's definitely funner to do it that way. And the crap account skipped it and went right to Lost Belt. So I certainly would like to do it first. It's just, it would suck if there was like a cool event, you know, that I missed because I wasn't doing it. That would kind of suck. Although I guess I could, you know, if it's only like Lost Belt 1 or 2 locked, I could always blow through those pretty quick because no one really cares about Lost Belt 1 or 2. I just got back. I had a power outage. More ghosties. I can't decide if I want to art chain or do damage. My whole street is flooded right now? Damn. This song is Medusa's theme from Castle Crashers. I think it was most of Castle Crashers songs were made by independent people, and then were used in the project and all that. But some of the songs were made specifically for Castle Crashers. There's kind of a weird mixed bag like that. I can't remember. I think this one was made specifically for Castle Crashers. Power went out, yikes. Yeah, hopefully everybody's safe. That's rough. I almost want to do Shimosa first, just because that's the one everyone cares about. It's hardest to do it first, but I think we'll be ready. You don't even have to have single target. You can, I mean, Nursery Rhyme will work, crying out loud, because she's AoE, but you got Lubu. Lubu is good. All the hard bosses in Shimosa can be taken out with Lubu if you know how to set them up properly. Like, all of them. Like, there are two hard bosses there. Is Assassin of Paradise and Omakusa, and Lubu is really good for murdering both of those. I like how we have no Buster cards on this hand. That's unfortunate. I would be tempted to do Epic of Remnant 2 first, though, just because of Columbus. Nothing says battle on the high seas like some Mario World music. City Master's not that bad. I mean, he's not like super easy, but he's not half as hard as Assassin of Paradise. It's not even close. And a big part of that is because they're just, you know, everything's subjective and relative to what like you happen to have. Like if you haven't leveled any fucking archers, obviously you're gonna have a hard time. Or if you just happen to have like Plot Monk, right, you'll be in good shape, or Ilya, right? But most people, it's way more common to have good archers than good casters for DPSing. So it's hard to have good DPS for Assassin of Paradise, and it's harder to keep Berserkers alive. Whereas like just David, Robin, and Billy is like, that'll just murder Sitting Master, right? And those are super vanilla units that, you know, most people have. And a lot of people level David and Robin, and that's really all you need. I don't know why I don't know why I cast that. We made 0 stars last turn. Yeah, I like the Sitting Master fight. It's really fun. It's just, it's not, you know, it can take a second. It's not like you're gonna just waltz on in, you know, especially with a more free-to-play setup and just, you know, one-shot it necessarily. But you have the tools to beat it, you know, once you kind of get it sorted out, right? Where Assassin of Paradise is a pretty huge cock block for a lot of people. The thing is, I mean, all Berserkers are you know, likely to get one shot. That's why you bring things like Mash and St. George and David and things like that. But Lu Bu is not a unit I would use for Sitting Master. That's like the reason you use him for Amakusa and Assassin of Paradise is because you're probably okay, let's look at the Assassin. Most people aren't going to have Ilya or Plot Monk, right? So they don't necessarily have good casters to doing damage to her, right? And so what's the other class that can do damage to assassins that like free-to-play people can have? Berserker, right? What's the best, you know, free-to-play budget Berserker for doing single target damage? Lu Bu. That's why I use Lu Bu there. For Sitting Master, there's no reason to use Lu Bu. It's actually a terrible idea. Because, yeah, you know, he does as much damage to Sitting Master as Assassin of Paradise, but you actually have archers, and archers are so much better than a Berserker there. You know, it's not an AoE situation, it's not a multi-class situation. There's no reason to use Lu Bu instead of Robin Hood for Sitting Master. That makes no sense. You know, Robin is going to do more damage generally, get his MP faster, and has way more survivability, and doesn't take double damage. It's just a million times better. And same for Billy and things like that. There's just absolutely no reason to use Lu Bu there, outside of liking him, obviously. And then for Amakusa, the reason to use Lu Bu is because he's a ruler, and again, a lot of free-to-play people aren't going to have an Avenger, and so they don't actually have a class that will do good damage, and you don't want to, you know, it's a lot easier if you don't have to do neutral damage. So Berserkers actually do double damage, and again, who's the best, you know, budget-friendly single-target Berserker? It's Lu Bu, and so that's why I use him there again. But if you happen to have an Avenger or whatever, that's obviously going to be way better. Lu Bu is just like a budget option that helps you deal with a lot of classes and stuff that you might otherwise have a hard time with. But like I've said, this account would already be leveling Lu Bu right now if I didn't have Hercules, right? Like, I'd be leveling him right now. Instead of using Spartacus for these stages and Caligula earlier, we'd be using Lu Bu. But I'm using Spartacus because he's got the AoE thing and the armor ignore thing, which is handy. Lu Bu has the armor ignore thing too, but Spartacus has a lot of uses that are different from Lu Bu. Where Lu Bu is extremely similar to Hercules, so because I have Hercules, I don't really need Lu Bu. But I kind of still need Spartacus because he's useful for different stuff anyway. However, I still might end up leveling Lu Bu just because of the armor ignore. Because sometimes you don't need AoE armor ignore, you need single target armor ignore, right? And Lu Bu is like the best budget option for that. And also, no matter what the class you're fighting, you know, whatever class you need armor ignore on, he can be a good stand-in because he's a berserker. But it would suck to level Lu Bu only for that. That's a large investment for like an ult account, right? If you're only going to use him for the armor ignore. But there's several fights where armor ignore is like the whole shtick, so I'm undecided what I'm going to do about Lu Bu or not. I like Lu Bu, you know, he's got cool animations and everything. It's just, you know, outside of specifically armor ignore, Hercules will always be better for us. Yeah, basically, honestly, I don't think Lu Bu is like some super OP 3-star. It's just he's the best you have for a free-to-play a lot of the time. He's one of the only budget assassin killers, you know, reliable ones anyway, that you know you can get, and same for like dealing with rulers and avengers and stuff like that. Oh yeah, Makusa's an avenger, but that's the same thing, you know, you're normally, you know, Robin is going to be doing neutral damage to an avenger, right, where Lu Bu is going to be doing the bonus damage, and it's way better a lot of the time. Although that's not always true, sometimes Robin still ends up doing better. Like, he's just, like if you're fighting a Saber, all the budget archers, you know, all like the good budget archers like Billy, you know, Robin, that kind of stuff, you know, they're going to do better than Lu Bu, right? And if you're fighting an archer, you know, Ku and Deermid and stuff are going to do better than Lu Bu. If you're fighting, you know, a rider, 100 Face is going to do better than Lu Bu. That's just always how it's going to be, really. But when you fight things like, you know, multi-class, or you fight an Avenger, a Ruler, you know, Assassin, those things, then a lot of times is the best. You know, and the reason Assassin is, you know, so frequently you use Berserkers against Assassins because it's like, yeah, all those budget single target casters we got. It's so dumb that the game is in that state. This game is 5 years old, and for like forever, we've always had, you know, 1 to 3 star free-to-play friendly, you know, boss nuking units. You know, we got Caesar, Bedivere, even Fergus. Even though Fergus is AoE, you know, he's triple buster. You know, we got Deermid and Ku, Proto Ku, all that for Lancer. We got, you know, Robin, Billy, that kind of stuff. You know, we've got things for every single class except a caster. There's no, you know, 1 to 3 star single target caster. It's a good nuker. It's crazy. After all this time, we don't have it. It's just silly. There's plenty of good AoE or casters for budget people. You got Babbage, Caster Ku. You know, those are great. They do a good job for AoE stuff. Medea is not okay. Medea is now Ziggy knows this. Ziggy is trolling, but I'm not responding to Ziggy because he's kidding. Medea may only hit 1 target, but she doesn't do single target damage. She does AoE damage. She literally has an AoE multiplier. Yet it's even worse than an AoE because she only hits 1 target. And then she doesn't have art up. She doesn't have attack up. She doesn't have MP up. So she's actually a fucking trash boss nuker. Now, she has utility, obviously, she has utility in the buff removal and all that, and there are fights where buff removal is a huge deal, like the Tam Vinci fight, you know, the Beast Tam fight, where she's got, like, all those buffs turn 1, and then on her final health bar, she gets that guts that brings her back, like, an 150,000 life, but you can remove it, right? And obviously, you know, Medea can do that for you, so that's really good. But in terms of boss nuking, it's not great. Is this Hector again? I think this might be Hector again. I'm gonna prepare as though it is Hector again because I'd rather not get, you know, wrecked. Might bring Spartacus and just, nah, we'll do George. Okay. Oh man. I don't think there's any Saber bosses outside of like trash mobs that have like more health than normal. I don't think there's anything too crazy. That's a weird stage we got here. I may be building NP too much here. Maybe I should be just killing this thing so I take less damage. I don't think this is a Hector fight. I don't think you ever fight Hector in the forest. I thought you only fought him twice, but maybe you fight him a third time, but I don't think so. Caster shooting's fine. She still has some issues, you know. She doesn't have like the best survivability and that kind of stuff, but she does do decent damage. So like, you know, if you literally have no other DPS caster, she's certainly going to be helpful. But Ushi. Okay, Ushi is a rider that's there to kill casters, right? So if you're in a situation where you're just fighting a big caster boss, Ushi will do better than caster shooting would do against an equivalent assassin boss, right? And Ushi's just a 3-star for God's sakes, right? So I mean, shooting is not like some just super godsend that's just gonna murder all the assassins and it's not gonna be a problem. But she absolutely helps a lot, and she can definitely work for that kind of thing, like no question. Should've done this last turn. And this seems like a filler stage, so I brought the wrong kind of team. But I figured if it was a filler stage, bringing a team like this would still work, just not as well. Where if it was a boss stage, I would have been fucked with a trash clearing setup. I would say, like, let's say you have Medea. Maybe you got Medea and you got her skill ranks kind of, you know, medium ranked up, nothing crazy, but just like a little bit. Then you have caster shooting, and then maybe like, you know, just one other like, you know, like AoE caster even. You'll probably be fine at that point. For the 1 to 3 stars though, like the, you know, the bronze and silver, the best one for like boss killing I would say is Caster Ku. Even though he's AoE, he's got an upgraded NP. He gives himself Buster Up every time he NPs, you know, and activates first. And then he has an NP battery, and he has a, you know, nice basic survival skill, which actually his is better than normal. It's a bit above basic, I would say. So he's the best one. Maybe AoE, but he's the closest to being like a proper single target for the 1 to 3 stars. And his survivability is higher than normal, so he gets more damage in, so that kind of offsets him being AoE. And you know, sometimes you need AoE, and then he does great, so. Well, these guys are fucked. I could have just done taunt, but we're gonna win before. Honestly, the arc would kill a lot of really OP things. It's just you don't have David with you for most stories. That's actually probably why. Arthur's quite good after his buff, because he gets extremely good single target damage with his crits, and he makes 30 stars. So like, he can give himself crits, and also he can make someone else crit pretty easily too, like Romulus or whatever, you know, with his crit buff, so. Like, he has, you know, rather high AoE damage, and niche against giants, gets his NP pretty quickly, and he also has really big crits. So he's fine, but he still doesn't have any survivability, and he doesn't have, like, as good AoE damage a lot of other people do. But he's still totally fine. Like, his buff was really nice. Not as nice as Mordred's. Although, actually, Mordred's buff is worse in many ways. It's just, Mordred was already so much better than Arthur, that her getting a buff even comparable to his puts her, like, light years ahead of him. Yeah, honestly, I would say Arthur's second skill buff was better than Mordred's second skill buff. It's very close though. It's kind of comparable, kind of apples and oranges a bit. Because she gets the absorb, so she can kind of crit more easily, but she doesn't make as many stars and all that. And her absorb is only for Buster, so it's, you know, Overall, and you know, his busters just last. His crit buff, excuse me, his crit buff lasts 3 turns, no matter how many attacks you do, where hers doesn't, right? So I would say overall, Arthur's is definitely the better buff. It's just Mordred was already so much better than Arthur that, like I say, the fact that their buffs are even comparable means Mordred is way ahead. Be glad when we got our 100 face higher, which is not quite high enough to use for this, I'd say. Yep, if they just buff Arthur's NP, I think he'll be fine. Because also, it kind of on the reverse side of it, their NPs are actually really comparable, but his NP's not upgraded, and Mordred's and Artoria's are. So if his does get upgraded, then his NP damage is actually going to be a good bit ahead of theirs, especially Mordred's, so... Yeah, if you gave him an upgraded NP, I think Arthur would be totally fine. I think it'd have been cool if they'd given him some kind of other niche in there, but it's kind of too late for that, so... I'll just give an upgraded NP, and I think he'll be good enough. Just do it, you cowards. Hopefully, if he's in Lost Belt 6, they'll do it around then. Or if he's if they do like a prototype event, then they do it then. So we'll just have to see. Saber Lily still has instinct, but that's not. It's like that should never be a criteria for if someone should be buffed or not. It's like Mordred did not need an instinct buff, right? It didn't matter that she just had vanilla instincts because the rest of her kit was fucking ridiculous and way better than the other sabers that are like really similar to her, right? It's not about what one individual skill does, it's about what their whole skill set is. That being said, Saber Lily is not exactly a 10 out of 10 servant, so by all means, they could buff her instinct. Yeah, lots of good examples, like, you know, Guts is kind of considered too weak if it's a completely vanilla skill, and generally when they make it, they do stuff like with like Columbus, you know, where his Guts comes with other effects, right? But like a lot of units that have vanilla Guts absolutely do not need a buff. Like Ku and Hercules, yeah, let's buff their Guts skills, guys. You could do it for Ku though, you just have to give its other effects something that wouldn't be super impactful. Like, obviously Guts doesn't help Ku in any way if you're not fighting, you know, challenging content. You know, if you're not gonna die, there's no point in having Guts, so the skill does nothing, right? So what I would do is give him a buff that won't help him too much in challenge quests, but then would actually help him if you are having to use him for farming or whatever. That seems like a fair way of handling that. And I've always said, I think a good way to do that would give him a battery on his Gut skill. Now, normally batteries are very helpful, but the way, if you look at the way Ku's math works out and the way, like, when he's soloing or last man standing or whatever, the way the math works out with his NP gain, if it was a minor battery, like just like a 10-20% battery, a lot of times it wouldn't even matter, right? You'd end up casting Guts, you're still going to cast Guts on the timing that you need it, because, you know, you cast Guts on Ku at very specific times, like min-max when the cooldown comes back versus when you're gonna die, and those turns rarely will land on a turn where you'd want to get battery anyway, right? A lot of times it's actually like right after your taunts die, right? So it's like it just go to waste. And then a lot of times after imping once, you know, you're gonna overcharge by more than 10 to 20% a lot of the time. So you know, it would help. It would make Ku a bit more consistent, and if you happen to fall short on NP, it could bail you out and stuff like that. It'd absolutely be nice. But it really would not affect Ku's performance in like solos or last man standing or even in team challenge quests that much. It would help him a good bit though in front row stuff. You know, when you use Ku in the front row, which, you know, there's a lot of times for challenge quests it's actually really good. You know, you want to get his NP as fast as possible, and having a battery would help with that a lot. So it would help him there, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. And for farming, it would help him a lot. You give him like starting NP, then use the battery skill, and you almost have your NP already, right? That would help him a lot in that kind of situation. But that's a good way to buff Ku. And for Hercules, I always say just buff his NP. Like, just generically buff his NP. That's like the best way. Guess we're gonna NP the Chimera. Oh wait, no, this is the final wave. I shouldn't have just done the defense buff then. Well, too late now. Oh yeah, I know. Buff Proto Ku for God's sakes. You know, Ku was better than Proto Ku to start with, and they buffed Ku, and they still haven't buffed Proto Ku to match, right? to really put Protoku where he needs to be, they need to buff him twice, right? They need to buff him once to just, you know, match the MP buff on Ku, and then he's still going to be behind Ku, and then they need to buff him again, right? Like, that's what needs to happen, but they're probably not going to do that. They'll probably, I think eventually they'll get around to just buffing Protoku's NP, so it's exactly like regular Ku's. And, you know, that's nice, but he'll still be behind regular Ku at that point, unless you're fighting beasts. I kind of feel like, though, I think at this point, they've probably decided whatever they're doing with Prototype, they probably know now. Like, if they're going to wait for an anime, or if they're going to do a Prototype collab event, or if Prototype's going to be featured heavily in Lost Belt 6, or some other event down the road, right? So they probably decided, you know, whatever I don't know what they've decided, but whatever it is, they probably know by now. And that's probably where you'll see Protoku stuff. Why it makes me think that, and I hope I'm wrong, but what makes me think that is it's been so long and they've done nothing with Protoku that makes me think that they're not going to just randomly buff him. Who knows, you know, the anniversaries get weird, so. But yeah, I'm kind of expecting them to do something specific with Protoku off of like an event or something, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, if they buff him on the anniversary, I'd be very happy. I mean, they can't give him an AoE NP because he already has a single target NP, so they can't really change that. Bullets. Good luck with the bullets. Yeah, see, if you buff Merlin and Scatty, you're basically buffing every other unit, right? Because they enable everybody. Flawless logic. I just realized Fuma and Kojiro saying the same thing there. Okay, there we go. Whoa, that's some damage. Fuma, no! See, if we had leveled Mash's defense skill literally one time, if we had just leveled Mash's defense skill one time, the damage reduction for those 2 attacks that hit Fuma would have been enough that Fuma would have survived. Good thing Kojiro had evade that turn though, so there was no way for him to die there. I'm hoping the Buster and NP kill a Chimera, and then we art extra. Dragon, Drake, Wyvern, or whatever the fuck it is. Flying Lizard. Okay, that didn't work out. Oh no. This fucking Chimera, by the way. Ooh boy. I swear we don't need him. It's fine. We don't actually need him. It's not cheating. I want to point out, even if that one attack killed Drake and then he attacked Kojiro with the other one and crit, we still would have won. So we've had a lot of cameo appearances from Hercules, guys. It's not cheating count, lol, pretty high. Pretty high. And it's because a lot of times we get down to like the bare bones, right? But we don't actually need our last slots. Like, no, it's not that bad. They just show up. It's gonna be a while. Finally, I beat Guadia. Nice, dude. And then the Mage Association rewards you with a little gold pin and a pat on the head. But it's gonna feel so good when we actually get to use Hercules, which is probably not until like America. Maybe even Camelot. I'd probably say Camelot. I just, you know, a lot of people want to do Hercules, which is cool up there, so we might use him then. But yeah, right now he's so over leveled that there's no using him for a while. Yeah, Merlin's original NP in Babylonia is busted. Got that Divinity 1 music. Divinity Original Sin. Love that game. Thankfully, they nerfed Merlin, although he's still outrageously overpowered, but you know. Yeah, I like both Divinity games. I do prefer the first one a bit. I kind of just like the art style more and just some of the way. You can definitely cheese harder in the first game. I don't know, you can cheese pretty hard in both. Oh god, teleport in both of those games is so busted. Anyway, but yeah, I overall prefer the first one a little bit, but I enjoy them both a lot. I kind of hate America. They just did such a bad job of making a story for America, right? They just shit on all the American stuff, and they got no screen time, and it's not great. Like, you know, all the, like, you know, Karna Arjuna stuff is a good idea and everything, and you know, it could have been cool, but it's like, it's so much wasted potential, and it's just kind of insulting. Also, Coup Alter is just fucking fan fiction, so... I feel like MASH is gonna crit, which is a 90. I want to do art quick, but yeah, I think that's gonna like not work. Yep, the Japanese and Chinese singularities are just full of you know, regional servants that make sense, and then the American one has almost no Americans, and then the Americans that are there do basically nothing and just get shit on by other things. It's really lame. It's just kind of lame because they've set 3 stories in America. One is a joke event, but like, you know, we have Salem, that's in America. You know, obviously America is in America. And then they did the Las Vegas event that's going on right now, right? And we get like no American servants in any of these. It's like, what the fuck, man? Get some green cards in here. Oh yeah, Guildfest. I guess that barely counts because it doesn't really even have a story, even a joke one, but a little bit of one. Well, that was pretty smooth. I only see boxes. I guess that's yeah, I know a lot of people that they didn't even care. Like, you know, I'm all, oh my god, the challenge quests, it's fun and stuff, and I get to make videos for like characters I like for like the challenge quests that are applicable for and stuff, right? Everyone else is like, they're just like, shove that shit aside. I don't care about that. But these boxes, though, right? That's definitely most people. I know a lot of people that literally just did not care at all about the challenge quests, and they're just like, boxes! But I mean, you know, to each their own. You know, they can do whatever they want. Okay, I think I'm gonna wrap up there because it's getting kind of late for me, and I got stuff I want to do. And I feel like I'd have to go super late if I wanted to finish this. I think this is a good stopping spot because I think next is just gonna be the Hercules spam, and then the Demon Pillar, and that'll be a good stream. So we didn't quite get as far as we would have liked there, but I think we got far enough. So yeah, I think that's the first time Rex actually just got here. That actually feels kind of bad. That is unfortunate. But you know, like I said, we'll I think what we're gonna do this next stream, we'll finish up Okeanos, and I think we will take a bit of a break before London. We'll do event stuff, you know, try to catch up a bit on hey man, we We keep getting the good shit from FP, man. Like we keep getting, we got 100 face from FP, we got I think Robin from FP, and we got Caesar from FP instead of from the Gacha. So that's awesome. I've been wanting Caesar for a while. Oh, God, oh, yay! Guys were saved. Remember that all those servants that we wanted that we couldn't get, you know, that could be like helping us so much right now. We got them. NBA. Dude, Caesar's so good now, and he was good before too. So. Oh man, that's so good. It's funny though, we're already past the Hector fights. This would have been our guy for Hector, but we're already past that, so. Okay, we're all set, guys. We got Phantom. Alright. Alright, well, we'll wrap up there. I'll definitely stream tomorrow, though. I really want to get Okeanos, you know, done. I want to fight that Demon Pillar. And obviously all the Hercules fights. Do we make an exception? Do we use our Hercules when we fight Hercules? Just solo? Like, we got Leonidas and George now, so we could solo. And we could do Hercules versus Hercules. And our Hercules isn't like, he's 1-1-1, and he has 0 foes, right? So he's not as strong as like a typical 80 Hercules, right? He's more like a 70 Hercules, really. So that could be pretty good still. Yeah, I think we'll try that and see how it goes. We haven't really gotten to use our Hercules this entire time, so it'd be kind of nice to get to do something. All right, let's raid Halo Man. He's playing some FGO. We'll do that. Alright boys, well, hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow, and stay safe with all this crazy weather and everything, so hope everybody's good. Alright, later everybody.